We're going to be doing a quick talk here about Classic Plus. At least that's what's on the agenda, and that's the plan. Do a quick talk about Classic Plus, so everybody can feel free to chime in with comments along the way, if they should so choose or want to. Good England, Solheim, thank you very much, no problem. I'm gonna leave a link to my Kick here as well. Please follow and then Kick link. Alright, hopefully this way we get some input as well as we are going through things. I will only really be paying attention to Twitch and Kick chat though, because there's like 3 chats to pay attention to right now. That's a lot. That's a lot of chats. I will try my best to pay attention to all chats, okay? Probably up the WoW music a bit, can't we? You guys just let me know when the WoW music is too high or too low, by the way. Whenever we get to a place where the music is actually playing. Okay, there we go. Just started playing myself on Thunderstrike, is it? Classic complete noob. If you want to play on an anniversary, yeah, yes it is. Alright boys, Classic Plus. Let's go. Yeah, my main, and also the one that I'm playing here, the one that I'm going to be leveling for TBC Anniversary is on Thunderstrike. I'm going to be starting a new challenge later today, by the way, which is going to be on... what is it called? Night Slayer is the one for North America. Spine Shatter, there we go. I'm going to start a character on Spine Shatter eventually here. It might be the angle to buy some gold eventually, or buy gold really by
yo,
gear.
Saber, thank you for the resub, by the way. Classic Plus 5, thank
Oh
you.
no, Blizzard, don't ban me, bro. Don't ban me, man.
Oh, we got him.
Got him.
Let's see here, we're going to be doing a discussion type of video here with Shelde really soon.
Hello, Solheim, can you hear me?
There we go, yeah. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, or thanks for doing this with me.
Yeah.
I'm honored to have a bigger creator like yourself. Thank you for doing this. It's awesome.
It could be fun. I have I've taken up like a Excalibur thing here, so I can actually write down bullet points as we're going through things.
Nice. What did you call it? A what?
Excalibur. It's like a website you can use to... it's like a blackboard. Really easy to use.
Nice. Just gotta check if my stream is... 1 second, just gotta check if the stream is running correctly.
Hell yeah.
I just turned things on live. It's been a while since my last YouTube stream. Not as well versed as you are.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I do stream every now and then. I've taken the weekend off though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've been streaming a lot lately, right, on Kick?
Yeah.
Are you live on Kick right now as well?
Yeah.
Nice. And YouTube?
Yeah. And Twitch.
Oh, all of them. I need to learn that. I need to I haven't set up my Twitch yet. I haven't even set up a Kick account yet, but I was thinking many, the ones who are in the know, they say that it's good to multi-stream to several different platforms if you want to grow.
Yeah, it's also just fun to, like, I have been on multiple platforms. I have community kind of split, and it's cool to be able to interact with all of them instead of just, like, only a certain part.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I actually wanted to pick your brain. We can do that some other time, but about, YouTube growth and your strategy and how you do stuff and everything. I think I probably learn a lot from
I'm just a gamer
you.
playing video games, but yeah, I can try.
But yeah, man, you did an awesome job with your YouTube channel with what are you sitting at, around 55,000 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is pretty good.
So I looked through the bullet points you sent me, and I'm probably going to touch on some other things as well, because they seem to be a lot based on... what do you want to call it? Like, game systems, perhaps. Game systems and management from the people upstairs. So, like, game masters, botting, RMT, and, like, systems they need to fix, basically. But I also want to talk about the gameplay.
Yeah, we should definitely do that as well. I just didn't know how much time you were willing to or ready to put into this, so I was mainly harping on the points and the overarching things that I wanted to definitely get around, and then we can dive deeper into each of those. So I'm definitely down for that, for sure. I actually updated my bullet points. You want me to send them to you on Discord?
Oh yeah, you can just send a quick version on Discord, but yeah. I'll just read through them real quick.
A couple things.
All right.
I'm not finished adding everything, but I did add a couple of stuff.
It usually happens between 5 and 10 minutes into the YouTube stream. It for some reason just starts reconnecting, and it looks like it's DCing, but
oh, that's odd.
Yeah, and it happens almost every single time.
Is it when you multi-stream, or is it just
all the time anyway?
With YouTube? Oh, that's odd.
Yeah,
I haven't had at least of what I know of, I haven't had any issues with YouTube.
Might need to download some updates on OBS or something.
I would like to pop you out here on Discord so that people can see. But I don't know how to do that. It's always some management thing, setting up things and making them work. I think everything's running fine on my end now, at least.
All right.
All right. Shall we? Are you ready, or?
Yeah.
Dive into it?
I'm just I'm playing some anniversary in the background, so if I do take some time to answer every now and then or talk about things, I'm just doing
for sure.
something.
No
I'm getting my level 40 mount right now on the Warlock. I think I just have to talk to some dude, so it should be pretty easy.
Awesome. You're playing. Are you still playing Turtle as well, and playing on your characters?
Not really.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna prep for TBC.
All right, but you did get
leveling a Warlock for TBC and leveling a Paladin for TBC.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I haven't really. I can't really be asked to dive into TBC. Just
Yeah.
when it came around with classic stuff, and also did it before that on private servers. And yeah, I like TBC changes, mostly like class changes that they did in TBC. I like those, but I don't know. It's the same. You gotta have something. I want to have something classic plus.
Yeah, same.
Basically.
Same. It's like
Mostly.
TBC is nice, but I've already been there and done it. The reason why I'm slightly hyped is that I burnt myself out the first time. So I missed out on like half of TBC.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I'm hoping not to miss out on that half of this time. Like, I missed out on the better half as well, like Sunwell and Black Temple.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I burnt out so hard that I just took a massive break, just quit everything basically.
Yeah, I think a lot of people also went hard when TBC came out.
Yeah.
And all the attunement grind, that really, that's a tough one, I think.
Yeah, the attunement
So
grind
many-
and also farming heroic dungeons and stuff to get loot, and then you go into the raid and you realize that the raid was easier than the heroic dungeons.
Yeah.
That's such a
Yeah,
weird
that's
feeling.
kinda crazy. Yeah. Probably wasn't back in the day, but now, you know, when things been figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just let's talk about the overarching. I had what I wrote you, my notes here, what I consider to be like the 3 core pillars of Endgame in WoW. And tell me if you agree or disagree or want to add stuff to it. But how I see it is like there's PvE, that's the quest, your dungeons, your raids. And this is just talking about once you reach level 60 and what is there to do at this point, right?
Okay.
And then there's PvP, world PvP, you got your battlegrounds, you got your arena as well. And then you got at the third pillar, probably a more or less overlooked one. I think the economy plays a big role in Endgame in vanilla.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's important to preserve all 3, in my opinion. And make sure that you don't introduce stuff like WoW tokens and stuff like that, because that kind of breaks the economy of the game.
Let me see here. PvE and PvP and economy.
Yeah. That's kind of what, when I thought about it, what I, in my opinion, could break it down to as like the main core things you end up doing at endgame. Either you're doing maybe a mix of all 3, and either it's a PvE sort of thing, like you do your raids or your dungeons and your heroics, or maybe there's some like now in retail there are delves instead of dungeons, if I'm correct, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then for PvP, you got your grinds, your arena grind, you got your battlegrounds, your world PvP to do. Maybe not so much in retail. I don't know if there's much world PvP back in retail. Do you know? Have you played retail lately? You have, haven't you?
I play retail quite a lot, yeah, but I haven't really done PvP since when? Pre-Dragonflight, so it's been 2 expansions.
Yeah, okay, so you don't know if there's any like world PvP, if that's even a thing anymore?
Actually, it is kind of. There are a couple of world quests now where you have to have world PvP to do them and to see the world quests. But for the most part, there's not a lot of PvP happening there. But every now and then you can find like 20 people doing the same world quest, and the PvP, the world quest is like based on the PvP as well in that place.
Okay, that's nice at least.
Yeah.
Because that's something they did on Epoch as well, where you can accept the quest where you need to kill in a specific zone. You need to kill 5 alliance, and then you get some experience and bloody tokens, I think they're called.
Yeah, it's the same on retail. They're called bloody tokens.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's that's nice. At least they did that on retail, I think, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, same. And the only reason that I know about this is because I usually make gold in retail and do a bunch of PvE, and those world quests, they give you reputation. So whenever I'm going really hard on getting recipes for professions and stuff, I need to do those world quests, and that's how I know about them. So
Makes
you kind
sense
of
then,
get a small edge, even for gold making and professions, by doing world PvP in that case, but the edge is so small that it's only for the top elite.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at least there's something like that to do. I think I stopped when Shadowlands came. I think that's in the middle of Shadowlands. That's where I stopped playing retail, and haven't played Dragonflight, and haven't played any of the War Within. And it's Midnight's coming now. That's the one that's coming soon, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, like someone in chat says right now as well, the last time we saw real world PvP in retail was probably back in Legion, I think. When we had the whole war mode system being enabled.
Yeah.
That thing gave you like additional resources and was it even additional experience and additional rep or something? At least it gave you more stuff while doing war mode.
I see. Somebody says that they can't hear you in my chat. So let me just see if I can fix that. All audio should be coming through, but apparently it's not. I'm not that well versed in OBS, but usually this works. I've had people on Discord before.
Yeah.
But let me just check.
Make sure you're not being one guide.
Yeah, I'm not. I think it worked. It should be working now. I see the bars coming up for you as well. So it should be the audio bars in OBS now.
All right. Yeah.
Squire, can you hear Solheim now? And thanks for telling me. By the way, I wasn't aware that it wasn't working.
I personally believe like last time we had actual world PvP in retail was probably Legion, and that was the good times. After that, the closest we've had is probably world quests. Even Shadowlands as well had a couple of those.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't really remember much actually from Shadowlands in terms of world PvP and stuff. But you say they had some
world quests.
They did have some. Yeah. Okay. But it hasn't really been much of a priority, I think.
Nope.
Since vanilla, actually.
I think it's also just been a shift in player mindset, because in retail right now, when you're doing stuff in the open world, you just want to do those things you're doing in the open world. It's like, if you're going out and doing dailies for reputation, you're doing the dailies for reputation. And if you're out and leveling, you're out there to be leveling. You have like a goal that you're trying to achieve, and anything else that gets put in your path of achieving that goal, you just think is annoying. So world PvP is being looked at as annoying.
Yeah, that's not good.
So
that's
like,
not optimal.
Yeah, so people, I'm just speaking hyperbolically here, but I think most people in retail feel that way as well. If they want to do PvP, they will queue for it. They will do battlegrounds, they will do arenas. They will actively seek out the PvP instead of getting PvP'd at the wrong time, basically.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna have your stream on my stream, because then people can follow along on my stream as well.
Hell yeah, go for it.
With what you're writing. That's yeah, but definitely I think that's it's something that needs attention, because if you really think about it, at least from my perspective, those three, like PvE and PvP is kind of half of the game. And
yeah,
I think if you're just focusing on PvE, you're missing out on the other half of the game. I'm not saying that everyone should want to do PvP, and vice versa. Not everyone shouldn't want to do PvE, but those are, has always been the options you have at Endgame, accompanied by gold making. And as soon as you try to remove one of those, it kind of makes for less of experience of Endgame, in my opinion. And as soon as you remove world PvP, that's part of Endgame. Remove the relevancy of gold making and trading in the game. That's another big part of the game.
I want to pick your brain
see.
on this one because you obviously like PvP more than I do, and I also believe that world PvP should be part of the game, especially on PvP servers. But if you look at Ironforge.pro right now, we can see how players respond to world PvP, and we can actively see that right now on like actually Ironforge.pro, going to Anniversary or Mists of Pandaria or Classic Era. Anniversary, actually they have started enforcing now that you can't have imbalanced servers, but in Mists of Pandaria, these servers back in TBC, like before TBC, Firemon and Gehennas for example, they were close to 50-50. Alliance and Horde, back in vanilla. Now they are 99.5% one-sided. So if people think that world PvP should be part of the game, why are they actively eliminating it themselves?
Yeah, I think people and players are like water. They flow where it's easiest. And I think that it is a developer job to make sure that people don't destroy the game for themselves.
Yeah.
Because people will do whatever is most effective and will try to avoid things, even though some people, if just half people, say half of the people on a PvP server, doesn't really maybe enjoy PvP to the same extent, and then those half leave, the rest will stay, and then that's enough to kind of ruin the server for the rest of the people staying there, so they start migrating off as well. I don't think, maybe I could be wrong about this, but I don't think we will see that to the same extent maybe on servers like that started out with only a PvP option and then included or then made a PvP option server available later on. Because now the people who join PvP, because I hear this a lot, people say they feel like they're forced into a specific type of server because their friends are playing there.
Yeah.
So I think something like that is affecting that's affecting behavior. And if people can easily avoid something to make something else easier, I think they're going to do that. Same with boosting. I'm not going to, even though I know it ruins the game, but if Classic Plus comes and mages can still boost me to level 60, why would I gimp myself?
Yeah. Like, people choose the path of least resistance.
Yeah, they do.
It's
I think that's part of the thing, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like the same thing in real life as well. If you have two paths you can walk right now, and the end goal, they both lead to the exact same place, and path 1 takes you 2 hours. Path 2 takes you 10 minutes, but you get kicked a couple of times along the way. Like, which path do you take?
Yeah.
You take the
Exactly.
path that takes you to the goal the fastest, as long as there's not permanent damages along the way.
Yeah. I agree. I completely agree. Everything needs to be balanced as good as possible. And I think something like enforcing faction balance, making sure that people just can't just leave a server whenever they feel like it sucks, then that's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a problem, but I think it's the best way of doing it to ensure that these PvP servers actually have world PvP on them. Because right now on Anniversary, like, those servers actually have a world PvP because they're being actively enforced to be somewhat balanced. Yeah. And if they took away that enforcement, I can promise you that when TBC Anniversary comes out, you will see at least 65% Horde and 35% Alliance. And then when Wrath comes out, it will just keep skewing in one direction.
Yeah, completely agree.
And then they will end up exactly where Mists of Pandaria is now, where Gehennas is only Horde and Firemo is only Alliance, for example.
Yeah.
But when it comes to world PvP,
they need to have actions enforce the balance thing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But also, when it comes to world PvP, how do you feel about Turtles War Mode?
I'm not a fan mainly because of the infamous or famous blue walling. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Never heard of.
So apparently there's something on the PvE server called blue walling, and I caught on to that on the Discord and forums and stuff, where people they're saying that the thing you can do if you're flagged for PvP, let's say you flag yourself for PvP, someone who's not flagged for PvP can now attack you, which is fine, because then you think, well, now I can attack him back, which would make sense, and you can also attack him back. The problem with this is like he can run around you while you're grinding your mobs and wait until you're low health and then just go up to you. You can't do anything preemptively to attack him or stop him from just one-shotting you whenever you're low. That's one thing. And the other thing is, since he didn't flag himself for PvP at a battle master, how I've gathered it, or how I think it works, is now that if he attacks you and kills you, and he just has to wait now 5 minutes before he is unflagged for PvP again. So once you corpse run back to your corpse thinking, now I can kill this guy because he killed me, and now he's flagged himself for PvP. But apparently I don't think that's the case, actually.
No.
So they need to fix that, in my opinion.
Yeah, after 5 minutes you get unflagged if you flag by just attacking someone. But what if we take War Mode from Turtle as a base, but we build upon it? And what I'm thinking here is we do exactly what you said now, we fix that. So you make it so that you can only engage in PvP when you're flagged for War Mode. And you have to actively go to a main city to flag yourself for War Mode.
Yeah.
That would kind of take away the whole blue walling thing.
Definitely, and I think that's how it should work.
So in Classic Plus, for example, you're trying to transfer this to Classic Plus, right? So in Classic Plus, how would you feel about just not having a server type, but having War Mode? And being able to flag in the capital city only.
Yeah, I think I would be down with that. I think that the problem with it is, what if people just never flag themselves?
Yeah, you need to have incentives for it, absolutely.
Yeah, you need to have incentives, exactly. And I think if you have incentives, I think that's a good thing. What should the incentives be? I am not sure. I don't know, honestly. But there needs to be some incentive for sure.
Yeah, like the incentive while leveling is going to be easy. Just give people 10% XP and that's it. Like then they level faster and everyone wants to level faster. But you also need to have a level 60 incentive, and that's where the problems comes in.
Yeah, true. Maybe it should be a way of acquiring gold or maybe gear.
Yeah.
One of those, probably.
Yeah. You could even take a page from Ascension's high risk, potentially. I don't really like that system myself, but you can, like, think about the system and then you can build upon it in a different way.
Yeah, because I think they got War Mode, and then they got their War Mode Plus, or whatever you want to call it, which is the high risk War Mode, where you actually lose your gear if you die, or use parts of your gear. Yeah, it's a very interesting way of going about it, for sure.
Yeah. I've also mentioned this to a couple of other creators as well, and it feels like everyone who's either heard about it or played the Turtle as well, they are just more and more, like, positive towards War Mode, because once you actually play with it, you realize how good it is, because now PvE and PvP players, they can live together in the same place, and the server just feels more popular overall, and it leaves the choice of PvP completely in the player's hands. And it's also like, if I don't feel like PvPing, I can take a week of no War Mode, and then after a week I can put War Mode back on as well. Because right now, if I leave a PvP server to a PvE one, it is a permanent decision. I can never go back unless I level up again.
Yeah, that's bad, in my opinion. You should be allowed to toggle it. I think, of course, there needs to be maybe a incentive to not toggle it off again. That's what they did on Epoch. There is a gold sink involved with trying to toggle it off again. So maybe it's not. They kind of want to incentivize that you make your decision and you try and stick to that decision.
Yeah.
And I think I agree a little bit with that. I think that maybe it's a good idea. I'm not really very opinionated on that. But I think that could be a good thing.
Yeah, like to
Sort
me,
of
I don't
whenever.
really, to me, I don't really mind if they do or don't do anything, but I'm just thinking about what could be best for the game overall. Because for me,
Yeah.
if Classic Plus comes out the way it is now with the PvP and PvE server, I'm probably going to start on a PvP server, and because I stream and make content, I'm going to get ganked quite often, and I'm going to rage quit, go to a PvE server and play there instead.
Yeah,
That is exactly how the cycle is going to be.
I heard that from a ton of streamers as well. And I can definitely imagine you being completely unable to play the game because with this amount of viewers, you'll just get ganked constantly.
Yeah, and then think about people that have way more viewers than me as well. Like, they get ganked even more often.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's just not a good time. And you also have people that literally stalk you offline as well, just to like find out where you are, once they know your character names and shit.
I think one of the biggest things, in my opinion, they should have done from the beginning is because what I think people have an issue is, it's actually not so much the fair PvP, fair and square PvP, 1v1 at your own level or close to your own level, maybe even 1v2, because sometimes if you're good at PvP, you can pull that one off.
Yeah, dude, that's amazing.
If you're a god, you
That
could
happened
pull
to
off
me. That happened to me in
Sorry?
Seasonal Discovery twice, and I loved that. That was amazing.
That really is an awesome feeling. What I think people really have an issue with, that's the griefing part, where especially if you have a level 60 running around ganking people at level 30. In my opinion, there's nobody gains anything from that. You don't gain anything from it being the ganker and the gankee or he who gets ganked. Does definitely not benefit from that either in any way, shape, or form. So I think if you wanted to address that, there should be like, you just can't attack somebody who is like within a 10 level range. You need to be within a 10 level range to attack somebody. Maybe even a 5 level. So 5 levels above you, 5 levels below you. Something like that could address the griefing in the game.
Yeah, I feel like for me, in Seasonal Discovery, I was level 25 on the mage, and I happened to be jumped by 2 other level 25s, and I was able to 1 versus 2 both of them. And that felt great. So like 1v2 is cool, and 1v1 is cool. But when you're level 24, questing in Duskwood, or let's just say 29 going to Strangleton Vale, and the level 60 undead rogue ganks your ass and literally corpse camps you, that is so trash gameplay.
Absolutely.
And it's also just like,
nobody likes that.
Yeah, nobody likes that, except the undead rogue, who's just a person who has absolutely no life. It's like a grown-ass man who is a pro at soccer going to a football game for children and then owning them 100-0 and then celebrating.
True.
I just think it's cringe.
There's not enough challenge in that, and it's like nobody gains anything from that, honestly. I saw somebody in your chat say that he thought that war mode kind of destroyed world PvP. But I think the only real issue is that you just need incentive to turn it on, and it needs to be a good incentive.
I saw that comment as well, and it was that war mode killed the retail PvP, but I would say that retail PvP killed itself, and also war mode in retail was implemented the wrong way. It's like calling Garrison's player housing, which it wasn't. And war mode in retail was not the war mode that we're talking about here. War mode here would give you incentives to turn it on, and you would have like plus 10% experience while leveling. It's in classic WoW, so no flying mounts here. That alone is a huge thing. Like, world PvP in retail has always been on a downward trend. It's died ever since vanilla WoW. When you had flying mounts, even faster flying mounts, you had faster like characters. Everyone has a movement speed to get out of combat. Everyone can vanish, stealth, sprint. Some people just vanish and then mount up and fly away.
Yeah.
Layering, sharding, you name it.
Yeah, I've hampered that part into oblivion with what I think ruined some of the mechanics or the world PvP mechanics of the game. Is definitely one of them is flying. And I also dislike PvP specific stats, not because of the stats themselves and how they interact with the damage in the game, which is fine, but because of the separation in the game, separating PvE from PvP is it sucks. Even as a PvPer myself, I think it kind of ruins the other half of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's really refreshing to hear from a PvP player's perspective. Because I'm obviously somebody who doesn't PvP that much, but you seem to PvP almost all the time. Whenever I'm popping by your stream, for example, you're in Strangleton Vale and just PvPing left, right, and center.
yeah. That's the part of the game I enjoy the most. But one example I can, and it's one decision I really disagree with here on Project Epoch, because they introduced PvP specific gear, and then just hovering over my gear, and I got decreased damage taken by 2% from players. I got this on every single piece. The problem with this is now that I have my gear, all my PvP gear, and I can upgrade it from level bracket to level, so level 25, level 35, level 45, so on. You upgrade your PvP gear.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost as much. It's cheap. Once you buy the first piece, then the upgrades are cheaper. And the problem with this is now there's no incentive for me to do dungeons. I want to do dungeons, but why should I? The gear I can get will only be worse for PvP.
Yeah.
There's no incentive to wear any of the profession gear that I've crafted, because it doesn't have this PvP specific stat, which is clearly the best for PvP, and that's the main thing I want to do in World of Warcraft. So I'm kind of bored already with Project Epoch, because I feel like there's nothing to do. And I feel that way because I got all my gear. The checklist is done, and I have no variety in the gear that I can choose. I can't choose interesting trinkets or this interesting bow that has some sort of proc on it, or this gear, I want this item from a dungeon, but there's none of that anymore, because I just did PvP, and now I got all my gear and I'm bored. And I didn't explore anything, because why would I? Even if I get a good piece of item in a dungeon, it's irrelevant, because this is the PvP gear. I want my complete PvP set, because it's just so much better.
Oh yeah, dude, I just got a really good idea from chat here that could also fix the whole ganking problem instead of taking ganking away, which would allow gankers to keep ganking, but also maybe be a solution. It would be hard for Blizzard to implement, actually, no it wouldn't, but I doubt they will, but it's a good idea. If a level 60 ganks a level 30 in war mode, for example, or even just in this case a PvP server, it should put a bounty on the ganker. So that one is broadcasted on the server, and that player can now be hunted for rewards.
Oh, yeah. I think, isn't that what they're going with in Ashes of Creation?
That might be. I haven't played since Alpha 1, so I don't really know. But now that you mention it, it does ring a bell, yeah.
I think Sharif, he talked about that at some point, of having like a bounty system where you would, in that way, punish players who griefed lobbies. I don't know if that's gonna work, but could be a solution.
I believe Arcade has a system kind of like that, and he played Arcade, right, and he started Ashes because Arcade was pay to win. So you might be pulling some inspiration from that one.
And Drace on your on chat says there is actually a system like that on TWoW already. And I remember there's like a board in the major cities you can click on, and then you're charged with ganking a specific person in a specific area, finding him and ganking him, because I think that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Do you know of this system? Yeah.
No, I don't know about the system.
Okay. Well, I think that's how it works on TurtleWow. There is a system like a bounty board, where I think that's what he's referring to, where whenever a person has ganked someone, say in what's it called, the Red Ridge, you'll see his name, and there'll be a bounty on the board, and you can accept that quest, and then you're charged with going and killing him.
That actually sounds really cool. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds really cool.
Yeah,
I would love to have that in Classic Plus.
But I just don't think that it is. I think it's a good system. I'm not sure if it's enough to de-incentivize a griefer who really wants to grief lobbies.
Oh yeah, no.
Enough.
It's not enough
think...
to disincentivize him, but it would incentivize other people to help out the lobbies in this case, and then kill the ganker.
Yeah. Yeah, making the rest of the faction work as the police force of
exactly.
of the area. Yeah.
That actually sounds really cool to me. It sounds really MMORPG style.
But I think they could still do something with, like, you can't keep ganking over and over the same person who is like 30 levels lower than you.
Yeah,
something like that.
I think ganking low levels is kind of cringe.
Absolutely.
Corpse camping someone like that is super cringe.
Yeah. And I think they should do something like that. That you just should not be able, in my opinion, to engage anyone who is that low level compared to yourself. In my opinion, I think maybe I'd put the cap at 10 levels below yourself.
I agree. It's an unpopular opinion, but I'm glad we both have it.
I think we actually, maybe this is going to be an echo chamber, but I think we actually share a lot of opinions on a lot of stuff here. But
I'm quite happy with the PvP part, unless you have something you want to add on PvP.
No, let's move on. Absolutely.
We have PvE and economy. I don't know if we haven't really touched too much on those two things.
Well, I just wanted to outline, with the things I mentioned on the core pillars of the end game. I just wanted to make it, let's say, a frame around how WoW is built and talk about other points, but from that frame. So moving into how, Classic Plus should do, maybe like an overall, making sure that all three of these pillars are being taken care of or acknowledged as worthy things that shouldn't be undercut in any way. So that's why I wanted to say overall, there should be great raids, there should be quests, there should be interesting dungeons. All of those needed to be expanded on, while still making sure that World PvP, Battlegrounds, Arena is the other half of the game, should also still be expanded upon, and not undercutting something like the economy in terms of like pay to win gold tokens and stuff like that.
Yeah. I agree.
I actually wanted to, pick your brain about it. What do you think about... we could actually just talk a little bit about dungeons, raids, and quests, and how it all works. Is there anything you would like to, improve in that regard with the Classic Plus?
Can you say that again?
Yeah, sure. It's just if there's anything you would like to say in PvE-wise, would like to improve in Classic Plus.
PvE-wise?
In terms of quests. Yeah, in terms of quests, dungeons, and raids and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Number 1, add more quests. Talking about quests first, we need way more quests. Like even for Alliance right now, when you follow certain leveling guides like Rested XP, Cygor, and Joannas, they all at level 44 tell you to grind to level 47.5. It's like 3.5 levels where all you do is grinding. And the reason why is that it's either not enough quests in the game, or they are too far spread apart, to the point where it's simply not worth your time to even try to do them. So, in order to actually level efficiently on the Alliance side and also do questing and dungeons all the way, if you're doing every single dungeon once, you simply have to just log out and wait for Rested XP. Otherwise, it's simply just go out and grind at some point. So we need more quests to make the leveling experience more fleshed out. Just like finish the leveling experience, make it a one journey where you just follow a storyline or two from start to finish, instead of going out and grinding. That part to me is so dumb. And also, giving us options. The more quests we have and the more questing hubs we have, the more options we have. Because right now in Classic, you don't really have many options. The only option you have is which like race you start as, and that lets you choose your starting zone. At level 10, you pretty much have the same leveling path all the way to level 60 on both Horde and the Alliance.
True. Yeah, and that's pretty much what Turtle WoW did with the entire experience, like expanding on the dungeons, the quests, and the raids. That's for sure something I agree with that should be expanded upon.
Yeah, we should have way more quests and also way more questing hubs. But I also feel like we don't need to overdo things. I mean, when it comes to questing hubs, just add it where it makes sense. Like, give Alliance a questing hub in Swamp of Sorrows, like Turtle has. I would maybe argue that the one questing hub they've added in Wetlands might be too much. Or at least there might be too many quests in Wetlands now, I'm not too sure. But I also want to see a questing hub, like another one in Dustswallow. Like the one we have in, is it Wrath pre-patch, I think? We have a questing hub in Dustswallow. That I'm not sure if we have that one in Turtle, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that Mud's Pocket, yeah.
Yeah, like that one was really cool,
I can't remember if... Yeah, I agree. Is it a neutral one? I think it is, right? The goblins and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's... Yeah. I think that's a good idea too. I think it was introduced in TPC, or maybe it was Wrath. I can't remember.
Yeah, same. I can't remember.
Doesn't matter. But yeah, I agree. I'm not sure. Why do you think there could be? Can there be too many quests? And if so, why?
Yeah, there can be. Like if you go to a zone and you suddenly have like 100+ quests to choose between, it can be too much. And also because in Classic WoW we only have 20 quests available in the quest log. So when you start thinking about, you have to abandon too many quests, you have to cherry pick which ones to do and not. And in Classic Plus, for example, we are not going to have any guides from the start, well, hopefully, or most likely. So in that case, you're there like, which quests do I do, which ones do I not do, which ones are valuable, which ones actually make me level fast. It becomes a like headache to try to sort through them if you have too many of them.
That's true.
So there's a difference between adding...
It's also because we may be coming from a mentality of accepting every single quest in a area and then going out and completing all of those quests. But if from the get-go, let's say Vanilla from the beginning had more than enough quests, more quests than you can ever do, maybe you'd be a little bit more selective with your quests. That could be a way of solving it, or a retail system where you have a main quest experience and then you have a side quest experience. That could also be a way of telling a story, but also letting you deviate from that if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Doesn't need to be a bad idea. But I feel like there's a difference between adding, let's say, 2,000 new quests and 10,000 new quests. So that there can be too many, but we definitely need more. The more we have, the more options we have. And I personally feel like the way Turtle has done it pretty much makes sense, because that way you do have some options, but not too many options.
True. But what if Turtle WoW added a bunch of new out? Like they did already add Baylor, and which is a whole new island with low-level quests and stuff. But if they started, I don't know if I would. I'm actually not too opinionated on that. If I would hate it if there were way too many quests, because maybe I just think. But that's maybe a me mindset, because I don't mind there being a lot of quests that I don't have any feeling of. I'm not a completionist in that way. I don't really care if there's a ton of quests that I'm not seeing or missing out on. But I can see, like, if you're a completionist, I can definitely see it being something that could be, I don't know, maybe annoying for you to feel like you're missing out on a ton of quests that you should be doing because there are just so many.
Yeah.
But it's a interesting debate, none the least. Like having, what do you guys in chat think? Should there be a ton of quests, or should there just be a handful of quests like finishing zones and stuff? If we can get anyone to answer that. I'm really not that opinionated on that, to be honest.
No. I feel like the way Turtle is on it makes a lot of sense, and just adding more quests, adding more questing hubs, and new zones. I feel like as well when it comes to new zones, we shouldn't really have more zones than the ones that Turtle has added, probably. Maybe a couple in Kalimdor, actually, because they don't really have that many more zones in Kalimdor compared to Eastern Kingdoms. Eastern Kingdoms has gotten like, what, 6 or 7 new zones, and Kalimdor has gotten 1? Or...
Yeah.
two, I guess, technically, yeah.
Yeah, and that while people were complaining a lot about, people feeling that the alliance are being favored a little bit when it comes to especially new zones, but yeah. And then there's the whole paladin versus shaman debate, which is better, which is stronger. And I think one solution to that is also just doing what they did in Project Epoch, allow
100%,
both on each side, because it's never gonna be completely balanced. And I know lore-wise, some people disagree with that, but I think this is an instance of you having to bend the lore a little bit to make room for better balance.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, like, lore-wise, I think it makes sense. Like, all they have to do here is spin paladins to make sense for either Tauren or undead, right? And to me, I feel like undead paladins do make sense. You just have to, like, make a lore-motivated quest for them to go through. So, yeah, give them a class quest that takes them through some holy path and teaches them to use the holy light to their advantage in some way, shape, or form. And that way you get undead paladins to actually make sense lore-wise. And for dwarf shamans, we literally have on the artwork of Vanilla WoW back in 2004, and the promotional tool is a dwarf riding a griffin with a storm hammer. What kind of dwarves uses a storm hammer with like a lightning bolt effect on it?
Yeah, they did that in Warcraft 3. Yeah. I think it's inspired from Warcraft 3 with the Griffin Riders.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Griffin Riders, yeah.
Like, dwarf shamans are already
that is
in
very
WoW.
shamanistic.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that is very shamanistic. I do agree with you. And also, like, lore-wise, being connected to the earth, which is very much a shaman trait, it really makes sense that dwarves would be shamans. And where I make undead paladins make sense, in my opinion, because if I have to choose a race to be paladin on the horde side, I definitely also choose undead. And in the way that you'd have these undead, or you'd had these paladins in the Third War in Warcraft 3, that died all because of Arthas, mainly because of the Scourge in general, and in general just died during combat. Those resurrected dead paladins, I could make an argument for them being able to again wield the light as they did in life.
There we go. Exactly.
Even though it might burn them, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like how it worked in TPC with the Blood Elves. They're forcing the light, bending the light to their will, and then in turn it's draining their own health with the seal of blood, right? That's how it works, I think, and that's the lore behind it. They're bending the light, even though it doesn't listen to them. They'll force it to listen.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that's the solution for the undeads, but something like in that vein, it could be done, bending the lore just a slight bit to make room for balanced game mechanics like that. I think is a necessity in some sense.
Yeah, like the undeads used to be humans, so just humans used to be paladins. Why shouldn't they be able to do it now just because they're dead?
Yeah. That's at least also how I make sense of it.
Yeah. And people say that they are being hurt by the light, but if undeads can be priests, I mean, priests use the light.
Yeah, exactly. I made that exact same point I made that exact point in one of my streams. I think that if undead priests can wield the white light, then why shouldn't undead paladins be able to as well?
Yep.
But I think lore-wise, they will argue that undead priests are all only shadow priests. And I get that lore-wise they probably would be, but you have to.
But in the game, on the other hand,
game mechanics.
Yeah.
What?
In the game, on the other hand, right?
In the lore, they would be, in the history of the game, they would only be shadow priests.
Oh.
But then again, you could also say undead wouldn't belong to any faction. There'd be their own faction, and then you'd probably have their lines be the dwarves and the humans, and they'll be their own, and the gnomes, and they'll be their own faction. And then you'd have night elves who would be in a third faction, and then you have the horde comprised of the Tauren, trolls, and orcs be on their own faction. So you'd have 4 factions in that.
Yeah.
In that way, just like you had in Warcraft 3. But they had to, make sense of it. So the undead joined the horde, and the night elves joined the alliance, and that's how they didn't break the game up too much in too many different factions. Even though it's not lore friendly, it is something you have to kind of set aside to make room for game mechanics.
Yeah. Alright, I've written down some stuff here when it comes to quests and quest hubs, and I kind of want to hear your opinion on this. I've written down in parentheses, so like inspiration from Turtle, Wrath pre-patch, and Cataclysm Azeroth revamp. Because when it comes to Blizzard right now making Classic Plus, people are saying they need years of development because they don't have any assets, and they don't have the ideas and stuff, and I beg to differ. All they have to do is copy and paste either other people's work or their own fucking work that they have the game files for. They can look at Turtle and see what Turtle has done right, or they can even take inspiration from Wrath pre-patch to, for example, put in the one questing hub in Dustwallow Marsh for both Horde and Alliance, or they can even look at some of the reshaping of the world they did back in Cataclysm, which, granted, they should not import all of that, because that fucking destroyed the world, but some of the questing spots are actually kind of cool. Like, for example, the new quest we have in Strangleton Vale, and also the improved amount of flight paths that we have in Cataclysm.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
So it's like the last 2 here, they already have the files for as well, they just have to actually copy and paste.
Yeah, definitely. At least the Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch stuff, because that's the least controversial, I think.
Yeah, the Kata one is controversial as fuck.
Yeah, it can be, at least for some people. I actually don't mind the revamping of the world. It wasn't, to me, that wasn't the biggest issues with Kata. There were a bunch of other things.
Oh yeah.
But I do agree with you. Like the least invasive or the least controversial, definitely be the Wrath of Lich King, because that's pretty much just add-ons to what vanilla already was.
Yeah.
And talking about Kata or Wrath of Lich King, like we talked about before, stuff like Mods Pocket and other quests that make sure that the game flows a bit easier.
Yeah.
And then expand from that point. I do agree.
And then for new zones, we have Hyjal, Northwind, Lapidus Isle, obviously from the Turtle server, but I've also written down Uldum.
Yeah.
Because that is a zone that I personally really like, and it's always been there in Classic WoW as well. It's just like, it's never been in the same place that we have it in Cataclysm. Going to the map right now, like Uldum would be between Ngoro and Silithus somehow. But in Tanaris, all the way down south, we have a gate to something called Uldum. So that could either be a dungeon, or a raid, or a literal fucking zone they could just smack on at the end of, like, down south in Kalimdor. Yeah. Because, like, what I talked about previously here is that in Turtle, Eastern Kingdoms has gotten a lot of love. They have the Grim Reach, they have Northwind, they have the 2 isles, Gilligim and Lapidus, they now have Baelor. They've gotten a shit ton of love, but Kalimdor, on the other hand, they really haven't.
No, not on Turtle WoW. That's true.
I feel like in Classic Plus, we definitely need to fix that somehow. And I feel like
it needs to be equally expanded to both continents.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be opposed to having Northrend at some point as a part of the Classic Plus experience, because that was part of Warcraft 3, so it would make sense that it would also be part of Classic Plus.
Yeah.
Maybe even to an extent Outland, because that was also part of Warcraft 3. So expanding on that part, I think they already had some parts of that under development in the early alpha of Vanilla. They had the Dark Portal and Outland under some development already back then. So I definitely want to see that expanded upon for sure, in a unique way.
I have an idea for Uldum that would be very new in terms of like Classic WoW, and it could be a hit or a miss, but I really just want to get some input both from you and from chat on this one. I would love Uldum to be a zone, and I would love that zone to be south of Tanaris through the gates, where you see the gates of Uldum on the map right now in Tanaris. I would love it to be a zone, but the zone itself should also have a raid that is like based on Uldum, so like the Giants of Uldum or the Dangers of Uldum, I don't know, like a Uldum raid in the Uldum zone. And the thing is, this will be a level 50 zone. You can go here at level 50, but you have to unlock the zone. You have to go through an actual quest chain to open up the gates to be able to go through Uldum. And the thing is...
Yeah, much like Anchorai thing, right?
Yeah, and that is just to get to the zone, right? To open the gates to go to the zone. And the thing is, that quest is already in the game. I don't know if Horde has that quest, and if they don't, Blizzard just have to make that somehow. But on the Alliance side, if you do all of Uldaman, and at the end you get like a quest to go to Uldum, like a Potence of Uldum quest, that you go to the gate and talk to like some dude in the gate.
Yeah.
You literally go in the middle of like level 50 elite giants just to finish off that quest. And it always seems like that's supposed to do something. Because it takes you to Uldaman, takes you to Ironforge, you talk to the king, you talk to a bunch of important people, and then you are sent from Ironforge to Tanaris and talk to some sort of like disc or something in between the giants. It always looks like it's supposed to be an important quest, but it's not an important quest, it's just like there.
I think those discs, Argonon, are... I can't remember what they're called. The Argonon. I want to say Argonon discs or something. Yeah. That's a recording of all history on Azeroth. That's the lore behind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a quest chain that just drops off completely and doesn't really go anywhere from that point. And they should definitely expand on that. I really like your idea. You're finishing that entire quest chain, and that opens up for you to explore a completely new zone or something.
Yeah, like you would actually have to go through a quest chain to open up a zone. We've never seen that before, I think. We've seen it to open a raid, and we saw it for a cube at the gates. But to open a zone, I don't really know if we've seen that before.
No, I don't think so. But you'll probably have to involve like everyone on the server, maybe? I don't know.
No, I feel like you should just personally be able to open the gate, like for you only.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe you're right.
Because that way it allows for people...
Yeah, sorry?
Yeah, it also allows for people to level in a different way. Like, you can, for example, if you're a speed leveler, you can include a Uldaman run in your speed leveling, and then open this gate at level 50, and by being the only person there, you're gonna have, like, no competition until other people also open that gate.
It's a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It could be a hit or a miss, but I feel like it could be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's just something different, which I like. It's like doing like all the same stuff. Like I remember fondly back to one thing I really liked about Wrath of the Lich King. That's probably a little bit controversial, but when you did the you remember the quest chains you would do in what's it called? The undead area where Tyrian Fordring is pushing into, can't remember what the zone is called. And once you complete what?
Is it Ice Crown or something else?
Yeah, I think yeah, Ice Crown. And you're pushing into the Ice Crown, and whenever you complete one part of the quest chain, then you open up for the next, and it actually phases, so the world actually changes.
Yep.
For you when you complete this quest chain. I really thoroughly enjoyed that, but I know it had a lot of problems with people phasing in and out, and you couldn't see people in different areas.
Yeah.
But maybe they could fix that part because I really like something like that. You will feel like you're actually having impact on the world with,
Yeah, exactly.
with your quests.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I feel as well. It could be really cool to see. And they just have to, like, lesser the amount of the zone that would be personal... Not layer, but, like, what do you call it? Like a shard.
Yeah, like, exactly. Making sure that people, they can still maybe play together or quest together, at least when they join in groups.
Yeah.
Then maybe you should phase into the one who invited you, his group or his version of the world, so it's not as a distorted a world. I don't know. There are maybe many systems that you could do. I think, don't they do this in retail as well, where you can still see each other, but the surrounding world just changed?
Yeah. You get invited to the guy who like starts the thing. You're on his world basically.
Yeah.
There are a couple of situations where that doesn't work, just because like spaghetti code. But for the most part, you are on the guy who invites his world. There are sometimes you will have to be on the same quest chain as well, though, to be on the exact same part of a certain quest, but that's really rare.
Yeah. I'm just gonna take a quick piss break, Solheim. I'll be right back.
Okay. I will keep chatting in the meantime. So we've gone through questing here, we've gone through questing hubs, we have talked about zones. Something I want to talk about here right now is dungeons, so I'm just going to keep talking while he's not here because I want to talk about dungeons. I feel like we should have a lot more dungeons. A lot might be pushing it. If you guys had any input here, chat, how many dungeons would you like to see in Classic Plus? Like, in addition to the ones we already have. Do you want to see 1 new dungeon, 5, 10, 20? Give me a ballpark number. Because to me, I feel like roughly 10 dungeons would be personally enough. Maybe like 7 or 8 dungeons to do while leveling, and then 2 or 3 at the end of the game. Because to me, I feel like we should keep the old content relevant. That's part of what Classic Plus is. It's classic with like a plus on top. But what do you think? Should we have 20 new dungeons, a bunch of new dungeons, or just like a couple new dungeons? At least 10? Yeah, I feel like 10 is a good number. Three to 4 endgame and 5 to 6 leveling dungeons, so like once again between 8 and 10. I want a good amount, I guess around 10 does sound alright. Alright, yeah, that's how I feel as well. So, for example, we can have 1 new level 20 dungeon, 1 new level 30, a couple new level 40s, and a couple of 50s, and then 3 to 4 level 60 dungeons.
I'm back. What were you talking about?
We just started moving on to dungeons.
Yeah, man.
And how many new dungeons you want to see in Classic Plus, and where we want to see them. I think the number we ended up on, me and chat in this case, around 10 dungeons, between 8 and 12, I think is a good number. What do you think? In addition to the ones we have, of course.
I must say that's also one area where I'm not really that opinionated when it comes to the amount of dungeons. That would like 10, 12. That would be great for me. Yeah. I don't have an issue with getting to level 60 and not experiencing part of the game or parts of the game. So for me, I do think, maybe if you had 100 dungeons, that would be a little bit much, and it would clutter it, mainly just because it would clutter the world too much, and it would be impossible to find groups because you'd have people spread too thin. At least if you're still keeping the cap on servers to like something like 10,000 or 15,000 people on a single server.
Yeah.
But that said, I think bunch of dungeons for sure. I'd love to see that. Much like what they did in Turtle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's classic, but with a plus. So we need to keep the classic intact.
Yeah.
So 10 to 12 dungeons. Let's say we get 1 or 2 new level 20 dungeons, a level 30 dungeon, a couple of level 40 dungeons, and a couple of mid 50s, early 50s, and then 3 to 4 level 60 dungeons. just to spice things up along the leveling process. And also, I feel like the end game is kind of where I want to see 3 to 4 new dungeons, because I'm so tired of the same end game gearing process. It is the same thing every single time. Like, I don't mind doing some LBRS and EUBRS, but hunting for the exact same loot, and if you're a melee, you have like 35 out of 40 people in a raid that wants the exact same items. And when you're doing Ubers, they all need the same items as well. It's just like, bro.
Yeah. I get you.
Give me some alternative dungeons to farm, and also some alternative items. Maybe make it so rogues actually are better with daggers now instead of swords, and add a new dungeon that actually has good daggers. That way the rogues wants to farm that dagger dungeon, instead of just spamming UBRS for Fellstriker.
Yeah, at least having options that are equally good for something like Dagger Rogue, as you mentioned, maybe opening up for what they did on Turtle with axes for rogues as well. I don't know if that's a popular thing or if it's an unpopular thing, but just having more options, I'm all for.
Yeah, like axe rogues is even from Wrath, so I feel like that one is okay.
True. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I just making sure that stuff like that is balanced, so that it's, or maybe like they did in TBC with buffs, making sure that everyone wants a Beastmaster Hunter, and everyone wants a Survival Hunter, and everyone wants every raid wants a marksmanship, so that they bring something of value to a raid or a dungeon setting, so that even if the damage is maybe slightly lower on one part, you still want it, because it overall increases the dungeon or the group's output.
Yeah,
that's a good way, I think, of making sure that every spec is desired.
Yeah, that is not a bad suggestion. I feel like Season of Discovery did a lot of good things in that aspect, keeping people to want certain classes. Like, you even wanted to have a Boomkin, even if their damage sucked, just to have the debuff effect they had, and also Moonkin Aura.
Yeah.
And no matter what, you also wanted to have a Hunter for the aspect of the Lion rune as well at the same time.
Yeah. I think maybe stuff was just a little bit too powerful when it came to the buffs. I don't know, maybe not. But I do agree with you, at least having, having the desire to bring different classes. I think that's important to make sure that you get a not just 40 warriors or 34 warriors or something in a raid.
Yeah, and it's healthy for every single aspect of the game, because if you have more Boomkins, you might also have more Restoration Druids, because they have an off-spec. And you also suddenly have more casters, so when a caster loot drops, people actually use it. Because right now, when you have a raid with 30 warriors, that is not even hyperbolic, by the way, 30 warriors, 2 rogues, and like a couple of mages and a couple of healers, like, everyone needs the same. When a caster loot drops, it's literally being disenchanted.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I actually think what they did as well with tokens is a fine option for making sure that there's still some use, like say a couple of classes share a specific totem or token that you turn in for that gear is a fine option, in my opinion, to make sure that you don't loot doesn't go to waste, basically.
I think we're gonna see that in Classic Plus, because they already did that in Season of Discovery and people loved it a lot.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't see any downside or issue with that. Maybe it's a little bit less immersive, because now the item that you wanted didn't drop, but you're still getting, it's just a token and you do a trade in for it. I think it's a fine
it's so much better. Instead of let's say you run a raid and you only have one warlock that raid, and then he already has all the gear he needs, and you only get warlock tier that raid, it literally goes to being disenchanted.
It feels bad. It just feels bad.
Yeah. Getting tokens instead, you can always funnel it to somebody who actually needs it. Or at least the chances are higher that somebody needs it.
Talking about raids and stuff, what do you think about raid sizes?
I like flexible raid sizes, dude. I do.
Yeah.
I think it should be 20 man and flexible up to 40 man. I know it might be not that good of an opinion to have in Classic because people love their 40-man raids. But I want to make one big argument for 20-man and flexible up to 40. If you have 40 people on a raid roster, and suddenly one day 5 people are sick or are having babies on the same day, or I don't know, like 5 people just can't make it to the raid.
Yeah.
On a regular raid day, that would be cancelled. But if it's flexible, now the bosses scale down to 35 people, and you can still raid.
Or you would have to puck those 5 people, but that's annoying because there's a whole... Like, what do you do with loot distribution? If you have, let's say you have a specific loot system, what do you do with that now? All that stuff is, it's annoying for sure.
Yep. And also, like, when you pug people as a 35-man guild group, I see so much corruption happening here because people are rolling for their own raid members inside loot, inside raids. So, like, they equip themselves with worse gear at the moment of rolling in order to out-roll pugs, to funnel gear to the raid members.
That's not good.
Yeah, so, like, the whole filling guild raids with pugs is just a really toxic system for the most part, a lot of times. I see this way more than people think. It is not like a hidden part of Classic WoW, it happens a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. I see that. What's your take on GDKP, actually?
You know, I've always hated GDKP, but I've gotten to the point now where I'm a little bit more I don't care. Just because my big thing against GDKP is the fact that it enforces gold buying and like makes gold buying really popular to the point where if you want to get loot, you pretty much have to buy gold. But I've seen an anniversary now that they took away GDKPs and people still buy gold. Flasks are expensive as ever, bots are still as available as ever, and the gold sellers are also still here just as much as always. So I feel like...
I completely agree with you.
Taking away...
problem is... Sorry?
Taking away GDKPs didn't really do anything, I feel like. If anything, it just took away raiding participation.
Yeah, I think again, it comes down to botting and RMT.
Yeah.
Gold buying. That is the core issue, and GDKP abuse is just a symptom of that core issue. So you need to address the core issue at the roots and not just trying to band-aid fix the symptoms of it.
Yeah.
And I know that's what Blizzard are mostly unwilling to do, and they want to band-aid fix everything with different other systems to try and combat it. But I think that because that's the only real issue with GDKP in my opinion. I actually like you earning your gold and then you investing that gold in getting gear. It really makes a lot of sense to me.
And it's like you always get paid for how good or bad you do as well, right? Because sometimes they have an additional cut for people that perform and do top DPS and top HPS and stuff. But even if they don't, you still get paid for the time you put in. And everyone gets paid on a somewhat equal level basis, right? And you can choose to either spend the gold to get loot or simply hoard gold for later. Meanwhile, when you raid normally, if you have a /roll system, you can theoretically raid every single week and never get any piece of loot.
Exactly.
Theoretically, that is possible.
Have all the loot, if you have all the loot from Molten Core, and your tank is like, say your tank is really geared or something, and he has all the loot from Molten Core, there's still like an incentive for him to actually join a Molten Core run now, other than gear, which would only be in later expansions or in Season of Discovery. That was going to be the tokens thing. But with GDKPs, there's another incentive, which is he being able to make gold from that. So it's not just a complete, waste of time for him.
Yeah, exactly. And that also gives you a loop of people that are good at content, helping people that are not as good at content. Because now the people that already have all their gear and have all their parses, instead of just either raid logging in their usual guilds where they are parsing, or simply just taking a break from the game, they are now incentivized to keep playing and help other people by, for example, getting paid through GDKPs.
And making sure those old content are still forming groups for something like Molten Core, even when X is out, and making sure that way that the content stays relevant to some extent.
Exactly. The thing that, like, that alone really sells me on it as well, like, just keeping content relevant. But another thing that also sells me is the fact that, like I just said, you can theoretically right now, if you join a regular raid, that is a pug raid, and they use a regular roll system, without a +1 or +2, you can theoretically join those raids every single week for a whole year straight, and never get loot. If you are unlucky, and that feels bad. Like, you can be the top DPS performer and never get loot for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, like, that alone is trash.
And when it comes to group sizes, we didn't really touch on that much, but I actually agree with you. That's a really good solution you have with starting at 20. That's the least amount of people you have to bring to a raid. And then being flexible up to a point. Maybe some raids where it's like Kara saying, it's 10 is the least amount, and then you can bring up to a certain amount, but it's the only problem with that is going to be balance. Is it going to be balanced completely whenever you bring another person on board? Is it going to be, how much easier is the content going to be, or how much harder is the content going to be easier because you bring that extra person, or is it going to be some hard cap off points where, okay, 15 people, that makes the content completely like you just roll over everything, and at 10 people it's too hard or something. So that needs to be balanced to make sure that it's still you're not just completely washing away the difficulty.
True. Yeah, no, I agree. I think
that's a development thing. They need to be on top of stuff like that constantly and making sure that it stays relevant.
Okay, while we're on the PvE part, I do want to talk about one more thing that doesn't really have anything to do with quest raids and dungeons, but it's more about the actual release schedule for Classic Plus. It's a whole different topic, but I do want to bring it in here as well to hear your input, but also chat's input. So I've been talking about the fact that Blizzard can release Classic Plus really fucking fast, because they've probably been developing it on the back end now for, let's say, half a year plus, and they sent out a survey half a year ago, so they've obviously been thinking about it. It doesn't really need a lot of new things. They can copy and paste a lot of things from Turtle WoW, Wrath pre-patch, Cataclysm stuff. They have a lot of ideas from Season of Discovery as well they can just put in. What if we got a version of Classic Plus where they cap the level at level 30 for, let's say, 1 month? Or only 1 month, by the way. We're not going to do Season of Discovery again, where we have like Phase 1 level 25 for 3 months, and then Phase 2 level 40 for half a year. No, level 30 for 1 month, giving them time to work on level 30 to 60 content, while we play Classic Plus with a level 30 cap. What do you think about that? Like a stagnated leveling, kind of, but only a one-time stagnation for like a month.
I would love that. It's something that when we saw, the streamers, S.o.D and all those guys playing the classic for the first time, what was it, alpha or beta? That's what beta they had in there.
Yep.
And you saw something interesting, which was Endgame changed completely, and the gear you wanted changed completely. And it's actually quite fun and interesting to see those tournaments. They did the dual tournaments as well, and they farmed different dungeons to get the gear, and I actually like it. But I do agree with it. The issue with Season of Discovery wasn't that they did stagnate it was the stagnations were too long, right?
It took us 1.5 years to get to max level.
Just to get to Endgame. Yeah, that's crazy. But I do agree with just doing one stagnation, also making sure that everyone can keep up, so you don't, if you have a family, you don't feel left behind.
Exactly.
You don't get that FOMO of now, oh god, my guild is starting to raid and I'm not even level 60 yet.
That's what I was going to say as well, because the main demographic from my viewer base as well, and people that play Classic WoW, people are dads now. People are between 30 and 40 years old. I mean, some people are older and some are younger as well, but the main demographic seems to be between 30 and 40 and have a family and a job. So when they play their game, Classic Plus, And after a week, they're level 14, and they feel like, well, I've actually done a good job, I'm level 14. And then they go to Twitch, they go to YouTube, and they see that I'm level 60. Joker is level 60, Ampy has 2 level 60s. And they're like, well, I'm just gonna quit.
They give up, yeah, exactly. They just give up.
Yeah. So like one stagnation like that allows them to keep up. And it also takes away the whole rush to endgame. It forces people that only wants to play endgame to either simply start playing later, or sit back, relax, and just take their time and enjoy the world.
And nowadays, you have a lot of people who like to do alts as well. Like, do another character and level that up. You don't feel as behind, because you don't need to level all the way to level 60 before you can feel like you can start your alt and then start leveling that. You only level to levels, let's say 30.
Yeah.
If that's the cap off, and then you start your alt if you're bored and feel like you need something else to do. So I think that's a really I like that idea personally.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. I've brought it up a couple of times, and people have a little bit of mixed feedback. But I feel like it's 80% positive and 20% negative. And the 20% negative seems to be a lot of PTSD from Season of Discovery, which I believe just did it completely wrong. Like, they kept us farming level 25 raids, or dungeons in this case, for like, what, 2.5 months? And level 40 as well, and Nomer again for 3 months. It was just way too long. It was way too dragged out.
And actually, there's something I really want to add to that, because I'm not sure I actually agree with the idea that there should be a end game raid at the end of a bracket like that. Because what it did, in my opinion, it made all other gear irrelevant.
Yeah.
You didn't really look to your professions. You didn't really look to other dungeons. You just wanted to do that single raid. As soon as you reached level, what was it, 25 or 30, whatever.
25 and 40, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like, I think just leave the game as it is. Don't do the raids, just do the dungeons and make people figure out what's the best endgame gear now. I think that's way more interesting than doing, say, okay, now you just got to do this raid and they're kind of, here's all your gear.
And I also feel like they could give us level 30 as the cap for a month before increasing it to either 45 or 60, right? And give us one
even
new
more
level.
than that, maybe.
Yeah, give us one new level 30 dungeon and one new level 20 something dungeon. And that way people are now going to do those 2 dungeons over and over again to farm new content, while also trying to do, for example, the Stranglethorn Vale questline for Bangladesh to get the mount, the bow for hunters. For example, that bow is insane, but it can be done to level 30, I think, or 31 or 32, but early 30s at least.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're gonna see the same thing that we saw in Classic or Season of Discovery. That was kind of cool. People tried to see how, like, what high level of content they could do at level 25. People are doing level 30 quests, level 35 stuff, solo farming, level 40 elites.
Exactly.
That's just kind of cool.
Yeah. And something like that was really, really interesting to see and sit there and watch, like, how people, they figured out ways to get a better piece of item, and they collaborated with getting this item in a raid, trying to do a quest or help somebody out. It's something like that is really fun and interesting, and people come up with their own lists of you could say bis gear at whatever level bracket you choose, say 30 as a level bracket. I think that's definitely something they should do again. I really like that concept, but I agree with you. Just do 1 stagnation, maximum 2, and don't make them too long.
Exactly. It's just to allow people to not feel like they're left behind, and also to take away the whole rush to end the game. Because right now the whole player mentality is to level to 60 as fast as possible, choose the path of least resistance. People are even going to skip all of the new content because they know the old content better, so they can level up faster, get to level 60, and start farming raids.
That's exactly what I did on Project Epoch.
Yeah,
and
there
it's
we
horrible.
Go. There we go.
And right, I got a friend, and me and him, we got into like a little bit of a competition where to see who could level fastest.
Yeah.
And he just completely burned out, my friend, because we just did the same old boring grind shit fest again, and it is just to prove your point. It completely burns you out because it's just but that is what people do, right? They do follow the path of least resistance.
Yep.
So you gotta save the players from themselves sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Not everyone is going to want this, but I think even the ones that don't want a stagnated leveling process, they also kind of want it at the same time. They just can't think that far at the moment. Because they just want to get to level 60, start doing level 60 content, but try to enjoy the journey. Instead of only thinking about the destination, enjoy the journey to the destination. And the journey is like where the fun is.
Exactly.
That's where you make friends, you get to explore the game, you connect to your character, and most of my memories in Classic WoW that I cherish are from leveling. Most of my friends that I've made are from the leveling journey as well. I've made some friends at Endgame, for sure, but many of the good memories are literally from leveling.
Yeah. That's where you feel like you're on par with somebody and you guys can do a couple of quests together that lead into a dungeon, that lead into the next and the next.
Yeah.
And it's it gives more of a sense of I don't know, friendship, something like that. I think
like in Classic WoW, there's a person that I still talk to on a weekly basis, sometimes even a daily basis as well. Just a random person that I met in Classic WoW 2019, and I invited this person for one singular quest. And then I asked him after the one quest, do you want to do the next one as well? And then we just stayed in a group for 10 hours straight, doing questing together. And then the next day, we started doing it again.
It's so awesome.
Yeah,
when you can make friends like that, it's I love that. Definitely.
There's a friend that I've been talking to for now 6 years. That's kind of cool.
Actually, also one of the ways, not through World of Warcraft specifically, but we were playing. Do you know Heroes of New Earth? Han?
What did you call
Dota.
it?
Heroes of New Earth.
No.
It's a MOBA game that came before. I think it came before Dota 2, and actually I also think it came before League of Legends after Dota 1. But the point is that I met this guy, or two of those two guys, him and his friend, through that game, and we have been talking ever since. I think it's been, I don't know, 15 years or something.
Okay.
So it just goes to show that it can be done. You can make friends via games.
Yeah. Alright, let's move into economy, gold making, and trading. We have talked a lot about PvE and PvP for now.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on. What I wanted to say about that is it's such an integral part of vanilla, and I think that needs to stay that way. And the problem later on, especially once they introduce the WoW token, one of the biggest offenders to the economy and the end game and the feeling of wanting to actually go out into the world and grind gold disappeared completely with the WoW token, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, the WoW token is shit. I read the survey for Classic Plus, the leaked survey, which I'm pretty sure is from Blizzard at this point, and it's been 2 or 3 months from that survey. They put WoW token in that survey. Just the fucking balls to put that in there and be like, do you want to see the WoW token in there? And then they even try to justify why the WoW token is good in the survey as well. I'm just there like, bro.
Is that a new survey or is that the old survey?
The one from like 2 or 3 months ago.
So they actually made a second survey lately, and they had the audacity to repeat the same from the survey that was made like half a year ago.
I think they've just been sending out the same survey in waves basically, but adding some stuff and removing some stuff.
Yeah.
So they've been asking about pet battling, WoW tokens. It's just like, man,
so
dude.
Pretty much the same that they did like half a year or so ago, where they asked people also about all these weird questions. Would you like flying in no? What?
Flying and pet battles, garrison soon.
Oh, fucking pet battles. Jesus. No, I don't want to pay Pokemon in my World of Warcraft game.
Alright, so I've put in the notes here. integral part of vanilla. This is like for the economy and gold making and trading. No WoW token, shit sucks, and Blizzard is disconnected for putting it in the survey. And please no botting and no our RMT.
Yeah. I think if I had to lay out the biggest offenders, pay to win with the WoW token and boosts. I consider those two, WoW token and boosts. That's just pay to win. Get rid of that.
Yeah. How do you feel about mage boosting?
I think it's bad for the game. It's bad for the health of the game.
I feel the same. The only difference here that I feel like paid level boosts are even worse because mage boosting is a player-made problem based on supply and demand.
Yeah.
But mage boosting is trash and should not be in the game.
I agree. I don't think any type of well, I don't know if any type of boosting, but mage boosting, it kind of ruins the game. I think for a lot of people because you're just sitting there, you're not contributing with anything. Should you be allowed, like you are in Turtle WoW, to boost yourself? That's maybe a little bit more controversial.
That's something that Blizzard doesn't have GMs, so they can't really enforce anything. But what they could do is, for example, fix the blind spots or the safe spots that mages are using. That way you can't mage boost. So simply they can do the same thing as Turtle WoW has done by fixing the safe spots and fixing the mob pathing, and also to make it so if you have a high level boosting a low level, you get way less experience at least.
Yeah, that makes sense. I completely agree with that. It's fix those.
Yeah, and by doing those things, they don't have to monitor anything. Like, they still don't need the GMs, which they really don't want to have apparently. So I think it's the best thing for them to do.
Yeah, I think that they should just, but you have to keep tabs on people because people will find other ways to, exploit the game and figure out ways to circumvent. So you have to keep tabs and constantly, especially in a Classic Plus setting, you have to keep an eye on people and making sure that people don't ruin the game for themselves.
Yeah, 100%. What else do we have here though? Because economy, gold making, and trading, we need to talk more about professions, I think.
Yeah, professions definitely needs to be an integral part of the Classic Plus experiencing. I have a hot take on this.
Okay.
I actually think that professions shouldn't be the way, and I think it's the healthiest for every game, every MMO, to have professions be the best way, or the way to get the best gear. Let me say it that way. The way to get the best gear in the game. Because when you have the best gear coming from professions, you can involve all parts of the game, not just the raids. You can involve stuff like trading with other people, farming out in the world, as well as raids. So let's just take Hand of Ragnaros as an example, which I think is a great example of involving the entire world with creating this weapon, because you need a specific map to drop in Molten Core. Yeah. But you also need world materials, so you're incentivized to go into the world, not just get all your gear from the raid, but you also need to trade and with other people, maybe use the auction house if you can't create or can't find these items in the open world on your own. So it kind of encompasses everything into making this gear, which is why I think professions is the best way to get gear. So if you just take that approach or that mindset and just apply it to other aspects of the game, where you can go into, say, a dungeon, you get a piece of material from the dungeon, and you get the rest from some materials on auction house or something you need to find in the world. And that way you create an epic helmet that doesn't even need to be legendary or anything. It could be epic gear, stuff like that. What's your take on that?
I agree. I wrote a couple of things here, like improved crafted items, either on par with raid items or the best items equals crafted items, like you said. I think maybe they should just be on par with raid items instead of being the actual best ones. And use materials from the raid plus world materials to craft these epic items. And you can also, for example, improve on skinning to skin raid bosses for an epic hide used in crafting, like we have in Onyxia, and we also have from the beast guy in the UBRS, right? Use that for all raid bosses that can be skinned. You can skin them for an epic hide and use the epic hide in crafting. And then we also have, for example, Black Lotus from Herbalism, Arcane Crystals for mining. What about adding something like Black Lotus for skinning? So when you skin level 60 mobs, you have a 0.1% chance to drop a, I don't know, like some sort of uncommon or rare hide that can now be used in crafting as well.
But you already kind of have that with not with skinning though. That's true.
Yeah, not
but you
with
have
skinning.
it with leatherworking, with the that's true. That is true. I was thinking about the leatherworking curd rocket hide thing, which is on a cooldown. Stuff like that is really good for the game and healthy. I think having cooldowns and stuff like that, making sure that it retains the value.
I even would like to see, for example, in the mining cooldown craft for some sort of insane bar, like for example, like what's it called again? Lightning steel or not living steel, but the one we have in
the Wrath of the Lich King. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. I can't remember what it's called, but you're right. That's also a great idea.
I'll put the Wrath of the Lich King bar. That's a good name for it. Titan Steel, there we go. I don't even think anybody wrote that. I just remembered it by myself. Garim.
Awesome. But I just want to make the case clear for why I'm thinking about having it. The best gear coming from professions is only to make sure that you involve different parts of the world, not just raiding.
Yeah.
Because I think when you do make sure that every single piece of content stays relevant to an extent, it just makes for a better, more interconnected world.
Keeps the world, what do you call it again?
Yeah, interconnected or relevant, you could say.
Interconnected and relevant, yeah. I think that's really good. Just keeping professions relevant through the entire game, because right now they're really relevant for a short time. They're really relevant at the start, and they're also really relevant at the start of a new phase. When people want certain crafted items, and also, for example, to hand in with max tier items, to hand in cured rugged hides and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that is not bad. Do we have anything else you wanna...
Branded items and materials from raids, yeah. I'm just reading what you wrote here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good idea with the skinning from and the same working kind of the same with the Black Lotus. So you have your gathering professions that actually all of them have something that has a low drop chance, but is important for, let's say, a specific recipe or something like that. I think that's a good idea. You could even go as far as to say rare mob spawn, and there's a couple of those that spawn different areas in the world, and then skinning that rare mob, and it's random where the mob spawn. Skinning that rare mob would provide you with a specific hide. The being important part being that it is random where the mob spawns, so you don't have a mafia going around hunting for this like you do with the Devil's Sword.
Oh yeah, Devil's Sword Mafia 2.0.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna write down some more things here. The second part that you wanted to talk about, I think. Let me just try to copy and paste and then see. Okay, no, actually, it doesn't look that bad.
My thought about it was, if we wanted to say what do we want from a Classic Plus, we should also talk about what we don't want to see.
Yep.
And my points were, or my what's it called, biggest offenders, in my opinion, were the ones you just posted there. pay-to-win stuff, token boosts. They introduced the boost in Classic. Was the Burning Crusade, where you can buy level 60? Was that right? You boost to level 60.
Yeah.
And they introduced in Wrath Lich King, they introduced the token, which is, again, something I really despise.
Oh yeah, same. Level boost was kind of trash.
Yeah.
The
They need
problem
to
here
do
is,
something
though,
about the bots.
the problem here is, though, just like for the WoW token, I'm not going to speak about because that one is just trash either way. But for boosting, everyone hated it, or at least most people did. But how many of the people that hated it still used it? Because it's one of those things where I am so fucking against boosting. I really am against boosting. But I've boosted like, what, 5 characters so far in Classic. I've just
I think it's the case again that if you let people ruin the game for themselves, they will.
Yes.
And if you let people choose the path of least resistance, well, they will.
Exactly, yeah. Because like level boost, you don't. I don't like it. I hate level boosting and being able to pay for a level 60. It diminishes the input and the time that I've put into the game by just letting other people pay to get the same amount of like actual work done in the game. Like, I've put in hundreds, if not thousands of hours to level up characters, and now these guys just pull out their credit card and swipe, and they have the same as I have. And I hate it with a passion, but I've still used it, because like, when you get offered a level boost, and you want a level 60, why not?
Yeah, exactly. That leads me into the second one, undercutting. Not just gear undercutting, but the constant undercutting of your efforts. By you could put in hours, and that's the entire retail mindset. You put in hours to get raid gear, and now the next patch comes along and you get all of that for free suddenly. And the same with you level, you grind it in anniversary all the way up to your 60s, and now somebody else comes along and he can just buy the boost. Like, it feels like you're not only undermining your existing player base by doing that, but you're also devaluing a ton of even your own characters to an extent. You don't have the same value to your own character because you did this boost.
Yeah.
So I think it harms the game in many ways.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just like, undercutting your time, or lowering the value of what you put in, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
And WoW's worst offenders, pay to win has to go, botting has to go, RMT has to go. Only playing the latest patch, though. Because when it comes to other things here, when it comes to pay to win, botting, RMT, undercutting, borrowed powers and borrowing grind, world relevancy, PvP and PvE separation, these are all things that Blizzard can do something about. But what about this one, only playing the latest patch? Because this to me seems like a player-made problem.
Yeah, I think what I mean by this is, again, if you look at retail, when do you go back in the first patch and play the first raids
that
came out? Never. So this is like a vertical. You could change it to vertical progression only, and we kind of want horizontal progression. That's what I mean by this. You want older content to stay relevant. What retail does is like, whenever there's a new expansion, or whenever there's even a new patch, not only expansions but now also patches, all the rest of the entire world, or the entire new zone or something become irrelevant. Only the newest stuff is the relevant stuff, and I hate that.
Yeah. I feel like Classic usually has done a somewhat good job when it comes to this, but they can definitely do a better job as well, and especially in Classic Plus, because like, in Classic WoW, whenever Blackwing Lair comes out, you still kind of want to do Molten Core as well.
Exactly.
For a couple of trinkets, a couple of weapons, and also the legendary. And when Phase 5, for example, comes out, people still do Blackwing Lair, especially for the trinkets and legendaries once again. Yeah,
that's the biggest thing about vanilla, and the greatest thing about vanilla is it's really good at keeping the older raids and older content, older world areas relevant. You even go back to Arathi Highlands, or you go to Badlands to farm your flame sacks, or you go to Arathi Highlands to farm whatever your or other low-level zones to farm your elemental earth or your elemental water or your elemental fires to make fire nature and frost protection potions and stuff like that. Keeps the world interconnected, and that way I think it's really healthy for the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, something that I want to bring up that we have to go all the way back to professions for. It's a comment made by Oppie in my Kick chat, and this is something that I've been talking about in videos in the past. I just haven't been talking about it a lot, but it's something that I would love to see in some version of WoW or any game really. What about a crafted weapon that needed all materials in the game, so you would need copper, iron, every type of crafted item to make one super good weapon? And the thing is, this can be done in different ways, not exactly the way he said, but what if you, for example, have to make a copper mace, and then you use the copper mace to make a tin mace, use that one to make a bronze mace, and use the same base item all the way to make like an epic level 60 mace. But it starts from copper, and that way you have to use all materials from level 1 all the way to level 60.
That's a great idea. I think it falls into what I was talking about keeping the professions more relevant by having like a ton of older materials being needed to create these great weapons or gear.
It keeps the world interconnected and relevant, because that way a new person that comes into the game can literally make gold by farming copper, because now copper is going to be relevant for literally endgame. And you can do the same thing with herbalism and flasks as well. Make like a strength potion for level 5, but use that strength potion as a base for the level 15 one, and just keep doing this all the way to a level 60 strength potion.
Yeah.
And that way literally Peace Bloom are still relevant, even in like 6 months after the server comes out. You still want Peace Bloom for max level content, eventually.
Yeah, just doing it with like a few specific things, because I can definitely imagine it being extremely tedious to find all of these materials, even on the auction house, and then creating each one in a row. But with doing it with just a couple of things, especially with gear, which is something you don't like. A potion, you keep drinking them, and then you have to keep creating them, and that's kind of a very tedious way of making them. But if you do it with gear, which you don't replace that often, that I definitely can see that working. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Right, let's see, do we have anything else you want to comment on any of these things? Borrowed power and borrowing grinds, is that like in Classic, or is it more like a Season of Discovery?
That's a retail. Yeah, I think that's, I wrote WoW's worst offenders, and it's basically mostly what has been implemented over the years by the Blizzard development team, and how I think they screwed up the game. Like, they screwed up the game with these things, in my opinion. I think undercutting gear, that's part of the only playing the newest patch, is whenever a new raid comes out, suddenly your older gear becomes completely irrelevant to a greater extent than, like, the power creep is so much worse now than it was back in vanilla and back in the early days of TPC and stuff like that. So keeping the power creep in check, and of course borrow power, that feels really, really bad. You want to feel like your investment, your time investment in your character is rewarded. So if you take a break from the game, you come back, you're still maybe not just as powerful, but close to, right?
Yeah.
Boring grinds is looking into maybe rep grinds. There are like rep grinds, the what's it called? The Furbok grinds in vanilla. Those are extremely boring. Or daily quests, stuff like that, making that more interesting. So if you have to introduce daily quests or rep grinds, just making sure that there are different ways to increase the reputation with these factions. I think what they did in Wrath of the Lich King, where you put on a cloak, or what's it called? Not a cloak, it's a tabard, and then you increase a specific rep with a specific faction by doing dungeons with this tabard equipped. I actually like that idea.
Yeah.
So leaning into stuff like that, just to have more options of how you acquire reputation from different factions.
Yeah, no, I agree. And for the borrowed power thing, I also feel like the rune system we had in Season of Discovery, it also counts as borrowed power, because you're literally borrowing abilities from runes, and I don't like that either.
What do you mean in Season of Discovery? Did they have borrowed power with the runes there?
Yeah, I mean, you only had the power when you had the runes equipped, right? So that, to me, that technically counts as borrowed power.
I see. Okay, yeah.
And
well,
also...
I don't mind it in that way, because all I want is them to constantly reiterate, making sure that all runes stay relevant. So you're not just, okay, this is the best. You want to switch things up a little bit to make sure that other builds are also viable. One thing I liked about Season of Discovery, it made different builds more viable, especially, let's say, for instance, Hunter. Now you had a melee hunter that was actually working. I really liked that.
Oh yeah, same.
You had a
I
lone
love
wolf.
that.
Exactly, you had a lone wolf bit. You had a beast mastery build. I don't know if the beast mastery build ever became viable, but just leaning into that more, making sure that it's as close as it can get. So I know that something will always stick out, but it could be done better than vanilla for sure.
Oh yeah, but I just don't like the ability of learning abilities from fucking runes, and then also having to go through
True.
a tedious grind to get those runes. And in S.o.D we ended up with like, what, 20 runes at the end? Or more than that, but 20 rune slots. Like we had, what, a head rune, we had a shoulder, back, chest, bracer, gloves, belt, literally everything except trinkets, I believe. Actually no, we even had trinket runes, I think. I have no idea. We decked out everything we could.
We had ring runes in the end.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Classic
way
Plus,
too much.
Instead of having like 20 different rune slots and 60 different runes to pick between, they could have added half of those runes to the talent build and just reworked talents. Like, for example, Shadow Priest needing a rune to crit from Shadow Priest damage over times. That should have been a fucking talent that was always active all the time. And then they could have given all classes 5 new abilities and just reworked talent systems.
Yeah, it should have been baked into the talent trees, and being a part of that, maybe not to the extreme extent that it came out to be with all the overpowered stuff, but yeah, just like that, while trying to make every single talent in a talent tree somewhat relevant.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like they're cookie cutter trees, but you actually feel like you actually have options.
Yeah.
And that's actually one thing I think that, even given that I haven't played retail much, but I've looked at the talent trees in retail, and I thought to myself, well, that is actually options. It seems like there's nothing cookie cutter. It seems like even with the thing where talent splits into 2 and you have to choose either or from one single talent, I actually like that idea.
Yeah.
And I like big talent trees. Personally, I think just having a bunch of playstyle options is great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. More options is always a good thing.
Yeah.
And also different options being good in different scenarios.
And that's what I think the talent trees, or however you want to do it, I think in Ascension they're going to do it by mystic enchantments instead. Whatever modality or system you want to choose to create options, I think is great. Just having a bunch of options. So if I want to play a mix of a beast master and a survival, I want to be able to do that, and not having it completely broken or not working.
Yeah. Hey, yo, thank you for the donation, by the way.
But I do understand
Holy.
that it's difficult to balance all that. But I think that's where the team should invest a lot of their time and effort.
Also, yo, Moipes,
giving
thank you for the
players
subscribe as well. I appreciate
tons of
that. Over here on
options
Kick.
and trying to balance
I
all
really
those
do appreciate that.
in
They
between them.
both played at the same time. Yo, thank you, Moipes. I appreciate that. Welcome in. Thank you, thank you. Alright, I think that's all we had to talk about on these. I kind of want to go into the whole what Turtle and also what Epoch did right.
One thing before we end this one, I wanted to touch on is the PvE and PvP separation.
Okay.
That's the last one, and then we'll move on. I think that I think that's bad for the game as well. I think there shouldn't be, again, as we touched on earlier, there shouldn't be PvP specific stats, or for that matter, PvE specific stats. At least not in the way that it's been done since TBC and forward. I think they got rid of it in Legion. Wasn't it in Legion they got rid of PvP specific stats and you can just join PvP, and they had like a damage reduction. Just making sure that, again, like with talents, I want to be able to mix and match different types of gear. I want to have gear freedom so that I feel like I can create my own character and I don't have to go through a checklist of items that I need to have. Because if you introduce PvP gear, basically what I'm going to do, and I'm going to get bored of it, I'm just going to go through the PvP gear list, and then that's it, I'm done. And there's no options. I have no options when it comes to gearing. It's just incredibly, well, we have 2 options or 3 options for trinkets or something, but it's still incredibly boring in my opinion. I love PvP, but I want to have a ton of options when it comes to gearing, and introducing PvP gear and just giving me a checklist to go through, that's just lazy, in my opinion.
Yo. That's based. All right.
And now I'm done. My rant is done. That's all I had to say about that. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, I agree. All right. What Turtle and Epoch did right then? Without
I didn't finish that one, but yeah.
I'm gonna write something here, and I think we can all agree. Everything.
Everything, yeah.
we just write everything, and that's it.
Pretty much. But they are different in many ways, right?
Yeah.
I think Epoch with their PvP specific stats, I think that's a wrong move of Epoch. And I think blue walling when it comes to PvP, that's a wrong move of Turtle WoW.
No RMT, no mage boosting. I'm gonna start off with that one. To me, that is an easy W right there.
Yeah.
Alright, no botting, no RMT, no mage boosting, actual game masters as well, I mean. Actual game masters, actual in-game support. What else?
Yeah, well, if you pretty much take what WoW's worst offenders, look at that, and that's pretty much what Turtle WoW didn't fuck up, right?
Yeah.
There are no, like, the latest patch isn't the only relevant content. They just revamped Molten Core on Turtle WoW, making that something that you actually want to go back and visit Molten Core, even though that in Northern Naxxramas is already out and people are extremely geared, but there's still an incentive to go back, keeping that incentive, making sure that the entire game stays relevant. That's something they really nailed as well on Turtle.
Yeah.
On Epoch, we don't know about that yet because, no raids are out yet on Epoch, but we'll see how they handle that. But I think, Turtle WoW is masters at making sure that the entire world and everything in the game stays relevant.
Yeah. Somebody in chat right now said, how can you even prevent mage boosting though? And to that, we already had that being tried in Season of Mastery, and it went kind of well. I mean, all they had to do was fix the save spots, and also make it so that if you had a, was it 20 level difference, people got pretty much 0 XP. So if you had a level 10 person plus a level 60 mage, level 10 dude got literally like no XP at all. It was like 1 or 2 experience per mob. So
yeah, there are many ways to enforce it, even if you don't want to actually employ game masters.
Yeah. Like Blizzard already did that in Season of Mastery, and they definitely can do it again. They already have the tech for it.
But I think it starts off being it should be against their rules or against the what's it called, TOS or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like any kind of start off with saying, okay, these are the rules, and then make sure you enforce those rules.
Like they're not gonna do that.
No, that's a problem. That's the biggest issue.
The only times they enforce that is when it's in their favor. Botting and RMT is going to stay the way it is. So is mage boosting, probably. I mean, the thing is, mage boosting they might actually do something about, because they don't really benefit from mage boosting being a thing. But botting, they literally get more paid customers. So one bot is literally a person paying a sub.
Yeah, it's a short-term win for a long-term loss, right? Because you lose your player base in the end, and that's also money in the end, but you gain them short-term.
Yeah.
It's like a child. Blizzard is like a child. If you put a cookie in front of a 2-year-old and say, if you don't eat the cookie, I'll come back with a plate of cookies. What's the child gonna do? It's many cases, at least, they're not gonna be able to withstand their impulses. They're gonna eat the cookie, and now the plate is gone because you broke the rule. Right.
No botting, no RMT, no mage boosting, actual game masters, actual in-game support. No layers, to me that one alone is pretty fucking insane. And no multi-boxing, but this one I kind of put kinda in brackets. Because people right now as well on Turtle, for example, they are using 2 accounts and boosting themselves. That happens pretty much all the time. But there's no actual multi-boxing, right? There's just like playing 2 accounts, same as in Classic.
Yeah. But they actually, on Epoch, they don't want that. If you do that on Epoch, you get banned.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, you do. They have actually already in chat, whenever they ban somebody, they say there's a system message, and you get the reasoning for why that person was banned. And you see sometimes multi-boxing, other times botting, cheating, stuff like that.
Yeah. Do we have any other systems here that I want to see, like what do they do right and what do they not do right? Because like gameplay wise we can add a bunch of things here, but I want to go through the actual systems first, or things that are like more Blizzard versus Turtle and Epoch developers kind of, which is what these 5 things are. Because for the game itself there's going to be a lot of things.
Yeah.
If we don't have anything more to add here, I'm just going to go straight into the game thing. And
let's do that. I can't think of anything, at least.
I like this one. Oppie said the same thing. Turtle LFD system, looking for dungeon system. I think it's really cool. It allows you to queue up for a dungeon, but it doesn't teleport you or do anything at all. All it does is simply find a group for you. And then you will have to figure out a place to meet up, or go to the dungeon or something, and then start doing a thing.
Yeah, I actually want to talk just a little bit about that, because I think for some people, I think this one can be controversial, but I just think that if you think about it this way, we are already doing this with the bulletin board.
Yeah, we are. We've been doing it for a while.
Being moved. Yeah, exactly. It's just being moved into an in-game add-on that you don't need to download. That's simple as that. So as long as it doesn't form the groups for you, and as long as it doesn't teleport you to the dungeon, we Gucci. There's no problem with it, in my opinion, in my view at least.
Yeah, and I also feel like by doing this right here, people can't gatekeep, because like all you have to do, you press a button and then you join a group. The only type of gatekeeping people are doing here is that if there's too many of your class in the same group, people are just going to leave, right? That's what we see on Turtle right now. If there's going to be 3 warriors, 1 dude leaves, or 2 people leave, and then requeue, right?
Yeah. So it's not a big offense to letting it form the group for you, as long as it definitely doesn't teleport you into the dungeon and out again. I don't like that.
Yeah.
One other system, now that you're talking about looking for stuff systems, dungeons, and also what's it called, battlegrounds. Why in the world would you want to be forced to sit in the major city, not being out in the world, but forced to sit at the battle masters signing up for queue? I think that's so redundant, and I love what they did here on Turtle Wow as well, letting you sign up for battlegrounds via a menu, so you can actually stay out in the world and interact with the world instead of pushing you back into the major cities.
100%, yeah. Yo, Frankster, thank you for the raid, by the way. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. We're over here theory crafting some Classic Plus at the moment.
System-wise, does that fall under something like transmog? I think for me, I don't care so much about it, but I think for a lot of people, that is a system of value. So long as you...
That's one that I'm not going to write it down, but it's one we can talk about. Because I feel like transmogs are both controversial and a good and a bad thing at the same time.
Definitely. And I think what they did on Epoch is a really good compromise. Until WoW, you're forced to see everyone's transmog, and you don't really know what gear people are wearing in PvP, which is kind of annoying. So you don't know what you're getting up against. But on Epoch, there is a toggle. You can either choose to see people's transmog, or you can choose not to see it. So that's a great compromise, and it only works for yourself. So say you want your character to look different, but you don't want to see transmog on other people, well, you just toggle it.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's a great compromise.
That could be an okay way of doing it, yeah. To me, I don't really have any interesting thoughts on transmog, because, like, I don't care if it's in the game, and I don't care if it's not in the game. I'm very impartial.
Yeah, the only thing that really annoys me is, that's mainly about PvP. Joining battlegrounds and people are running around naked and you have no clue, is this guy wearing Nax gear or is he wearing dungeon gear? It's like, and you find out when you get one shot.
Yeah. One of the things that speaks against transmog is what you just said now. You don't know what people are wearing, especially in PvP can be annoying, but also PvE as well. Or just the whole immersive world thing of seeing what people have. But the thing that speaks for transmog is that when you look at Classic Anniversary right now, if you line up 40 warriors, it looks like a mirror copy of one dude. They all look the same.
And you have a paladin in the best in slot gear wearing a dress.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's a healer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The healer dress paladin, horrible.
Yeah.
And really annoying to sit there playing with your paladin and he's wearing a dress. It's like, come on.
Yeah, that's kind of why I don't really care what happens for transmog, because I can see both sides of the story, and I think it's both good and bad at the same time.
Yeah. Have you seen the meme with the paladin meme on the internet with I think it says on one side you have expectation, and then on the other side you have reality. Yeah, got the guy in epic paladin gear and looks awesome, and then reality is you wearing a dress with a fucking stupid helmet.
Yeah,
that's something that speaks for transmog for sure.
That could also just be fixed by having different itemization, though, to like add more plate with spell power and plate with healing power. And also do like what they've done with the talent in Turtle, for example, to give you healing power based on armor. So the more armor you have, the more healing power you get.
Yeah, but that talent, that's a good talent. It's a really strong talent, actually.
Yeah. Alright, what else have they done correctly here? I think these are all still systems. I mean, gameplay-wise, there's a lot of things, though. Class changes, for example. Class changes. Talent system revamp.
Yeah, class changes is controversial. I think a lot of people But that's always going to happen when you change the class and how it functions. Some people will like it, some people will dislike it, and that's always going to be a thing. But I just like that they're doing class changes and they're constantly reiterating on.
Yes, same. I don't like what they've done to sub-rogues, but I do like what they've done to discipline priests.
I actually get that a lot with sub-rogue, but I haven't figured out what people are saying that it's become a support role, right?
It's a support class now, which is really weird.
But what was it before? It wasn't really a raid thing before, right?
PvP spec, the best PvP spec of all time.
I know. That's where you went halfway into assassination, getting cold blood, and preparation, right?
Yeah.
But when you actually look at the rogue talents, because I want to challenge that mindset just a little bit, because I don't see what talents they changed so that you don't, so you no longer can do your you no longer can do your preparation cold blood build, because I think you can still do that.
I have no idea. I'm not a rogue main.
Okay, fair enough. Because when I went through the talents, because I think it's just something people are really saying a lot, but I don't know if there's actually merit to it. Because when I did the talent and wanted to look into that, where people were saying, constantly talking about, whoa, subtlety rogue has been turned into this and that, I can't really see it. I think they retain all of their utility in PvP that they already have. But I see this a lot, this comment, even on the forums and stuff. People are saying, well, now it doesn't work. It's just a utility build. But I'm not sure if I see where it is that things have changed to the worse. Because you still get your preparation, you still get all of the, as far as I can see, all the stuff you had before.
Okay. But they have to have taken away something to add those talents.
But yeah.
I'm not sure what they've taken away, but they've definitely taken something away, otherwise people wouldn't be crying. At least I don't hope so. I mean, people can be dumb, but not that dumb.
You'd be surprised. But if I compare that, seriously, if I compare it to Vanilla's 3, I cannot see what they're missing.
Okay.
I can simply not see what it is they're missing. Because a lot of talents has just been baked into the same talent.
Okay.
And I think that's what people maybe are missing something. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the chat, but and please name what talent have rogues lost if they want to do the prep cold blood build. Because I don't see it.
Alright, I put in class changes so far, talent system revamp plus content, which basically all of it into one place here, like questing, dungeons, raids, professions, reputations, zones, and so on, just like I'm calling it plus content. That way you don't have to like go through all of that, because we've already gone through all of it so far. Adding content over time, I also feel like it's a good thing. Epoch I can't speak about here because they're really new, but Turtle, for example, added a really big patch after 8 years of development. And then horizontal progression, which kind of builds on the adding content over time.
Absolutely.
That's what I put down so far. I feel like I probably missed something. Oh, yeah. What do you call it? Like the carriage system. The thing in Epoch. Well, that is insane. I love it.
It is cool. It is cool.
Or rental mounts, like either one of them.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. That's so. I like that as well.
Yeah, just
that's what they did on Turtle WoW. Yeah. Latest patch on Turtle WoW, for those in the chat who don't know, they did somewhat of the same. You could already rent mounts on Turtle WoW at the Goldshire and Razor Hills and areas like that for like 50 copper. You rent a mount for 5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
But they didn't have any increased movement speed. Now the mounts on Turtle WoW, they have 40% increased movement speed. So you're basically achieving the same thing as they have on Epoch. Maybe they took inspiration from Epoch, the Turtle team, and implemented this as well. So you actually have some increased movement speed at the lower levels, which I think is a nice, not too intrusive quality of life change.
I put in one more thing here, reputation relevancy. Like, for example, Wildhammer reputation for gripe and speed. That's something they can really work on, like Turtle WoW has that now. You get Griffin speed from Wildhammer
You get your
rep.
Griffin speed, what do you mean, like flying faster?
Yeah, actually they haven't done that, I think, have they? But
not that I know of, maybe maybe they have, I don't know for sure.
I think one server has done this, but somebody in my chat just talked about it. New traveling systems are cool. I like the idea of farming Wildhammer rep to increase the Griffin speed. And I feel like one server should have already done this, if I'm not wrong. But Classic Plus could do something like that, though. Like Wildhammer reputation, and the Wildhammer is like the dwarves, the Griffins, right? So getting that to Exalted, it gives you more speed on your Griffin, as an example.
Yeah.
Gives you kind of a reason to go back and do all the content.
An interesting thing for the rep grinds, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's something different. So the grind is not just always about getting a piece of gear, but now it's getting quality of life or convenience.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea. Cool. Yeah.
But that is not something they've done right, though. I'm probably going to put that into something else. Wish list.
Not that I've heard of, at least.
Yeah,
but
wish list.
But I think what you have right there with this idea is something that brings interest to the game, because it's different. It's something we've never seen before. It's new reason to grind, because everything boils down to gear most of the time, right? Okay, I grind this, I get this gear. It's always about gear. But something like this, these systems like that okay, I get this convenience thing. Same with getting dual spec. You pay 1,000 gold or you pay 100, whatever it is, and then you open up for convenience stuff. So having that behind a rep grind, or having that behind a quest chain, or having that behind something, that just makes the world that much more interesting, and me wanting to explore stuff and figure stuff out, instead of it's just being, okay, I level to 60 and then I get my gear, and that's it. That's the treadmill. That's the loop. Uros says in my chat, resilience thread in Epoch Discord has 1,000 comments. Clearly people dislike resilience. Can you comment on that? Well, my comment is, I agree. I don't like resilience. I don't like PvP specific stats in any way, shape or form. I think that, I completely agree. We talked about this before, if you weren't here before or so. Uros. The thing I hate, or the reason why I'm getting a little bit bored of Epoch right now, is I have all my PvP gear. I have my entire PvP set on my hunter here, and there's no real reason for me to go into dungeons. There's no reason for me to go and complete a specific quest. There's no longer a reason for me to craft a specific piece of item with my lever working that I've leveled up to almost 300, like I'm more than halfway there, and I got all the newest recipes. But there's no reason for me, because
it's only
my gear's solved.
Gear.
Yeah, it's solved. I solved my gear. I did the checklist. I went through the checklist, and that's it. I'm done. And it's so boring. I wish it wasn't like this, because it kind of ruins the game for me. I know this is the best gear, so why would I do anything else? And I don't want that. I wanna feel like I need to go into raids. I want to feel like to go into dungeons and complete specific quest chains and get a blue item, or something else. So yeah. But I know that there's a lot of controversy about resilience. And I think one of the reasons people, they like resilience is not because of the stat per se, or it's not because they want to gatekeep PvP, but it is because their mindset is screwed around, or is about, they're thinking about it in terms of it's the only way to balance PvP, because that's been the solution they grew up with. So, but you have to think outside the box. You have to think about, okay, is there another solution that still gives you gear freedom while also solving the problem of PvP? Because that's the issue, right? The issue is too bursty PvP. That's why we need this stat. But do we really need this stat? Is there another way to fix that? You could maybe add resilience on all gear in the game. That's one solution. Or you could just go ahead and make a flat damage reduction. Whenever you engage someone in PvP, the resilience is already applied. Because if you put resilience on every piece of gear in the entire game, that's the same as not having resilience at all. Right? It does the exact same in the end.
Yeah.
It achieves the same goal. Wildhammer rep, jump off Griffin anywhere. Yeah, they talked about, I saw that in the interview, Hammer Dance and
this is something we've been talking about for a long time, and it's something that I would love to see in Classic WoW, just being able to just jump off the Griffin anywhere. And
parachute off.
Yeah, either parachute or a slow fall effect, or even a glider effect as well. Like, how cool would that be?
Oh, awesome. I would love that. The only issue is, but they can fix that if they just implement the parts of the Cataclysm world, is that you could probably clip through parts of the world. So let's say you fly over Stormwind like you did like you could on Turtle WoW. You could go behind Stormwind and stuff, because the vanilla world isn't made for flying over. But that's just a fix. They just need to complete the world.
Yeah. Right,
and I say just, I don't know if it's hard to do.
Do we want to go over to what Season of Discovery and Retail does right?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm slowly running out of time as well, so... I
think you're gonna run out of time before me, so you're gonna have to give a sign whenever it's getting really low on time.
Yeah, for sure. I think I got I got an hour more.
Yeah, easy.
Should be enough. Yeah, so in my opinion, what I wrote is what I think Retail did right. A system that I like in Retail, or a thing that I like about Retail, is actually I like the deeper talent trees they implemented in Dragonflight. Even though I haven't played much around with it, when I just glance over them and look how they look, and take a look at how they work with you. You meet at a specific point in the talent tree, and then you have to choose between two different talents. So there's a more choice by the looks of it. I don't know if it's actually that. People in the comments who play Retail will probably correct me, but I just like the idea of having bigger talent trees and more customization, deeper customization.
Yeah, no, I can agree. I would love to see not a Retail talent tree, but a classic talent tree with a Retail talent mindset.
Yeah.
So adding more choices and, like you said, deeper customization. Maybe instead of having one capstone talent, like the bottom talent, what if you have two different ones? And now you have to choose one.
Exactly. Yeah, and you have to choose between one of those two.
Yeah.
That's exactly my point, is that, yeah, having more options is not going to hurt anyone, unless they can't balance it. But that's a development issue. They need to try and balance it. And I get that it's always hard to balance whenever you introduce more options, but that should be at the forefront of the developers' minds, because I think that's, imbalance is what turns off a lot of people from the game.
Yeah.
But if they just slowly, like Titlewire did, slowly add stuff, keep reiterating on it, keep changing it, making sure that everything stays somewhat equally both in PvE and PvP, well then we are golden. And when it comes to that's actually a Season of Discovery thing, the dungeon token thing.
Yeah.
Again, that's harping back to things like you feel like you get something, you get a reward even though you get a reward for completing a dungeon even though you didn't get any gear.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's a way to fail proof, or a way to fail proof. So even if you get even if all the loot you want drops and you lose all the rolls, you still feel like you didn't waste your time.
You're still working towards something.
Yeah, exactly.
And
you always get something back for the time spent.
Yeah.
It is the same mindset as, for example, doing GDKPs, where you always get the gold at least for doing the raid. Like, you always get something.
Yeah.
And by doing this with the coins as well, or the dungeon tokens, you always get at least something.
And I think that's a good system. It's a good system to have something that you feel like, okay, well, even if I didn't get my helmet, which was the only item I wanted, you're still working towards it.
Yeah.
But just by another means, right? You can then buy it once you complete enough. And if you end up getting the helmet from whatever boss that drops the helmet, well, then you have all of these points you can now allocate into something else, be it materials, be it another piece of gear, or just something else, right?
Yeah.
I think that just want some lesser reward if you get unlucky. Some unlucky protection, whatever you want to call it.
Like Padre says in chat as well. He liked TBC because of Badges of Justice. It was nice in S.o.D, but there wasn't really anything meaningful you could buy. And I feel the same. Like, they should take in inspiration from the dungeon token system we had in S.o.D, but improve the rewards.
Yeah.
Because at some point you just ended up cashing those in for materials to just get some gold back for the time you spent. But there was like, you only used it to get a couple of items and maybe to gear yourself up for raids. But what if you could, for example, buy some raid loot as well? But you would have to spend an enormous amount of coins for that loot, but you could then also gear up for raids by doing dungeons.
Yeah. It's basically a Mythic Plus system in a way that makes it so that you choose the modality of end game that you enjoy the most, and you just do that to gear your character. So you introduce choice, and the most important thing is that there's no one option that is the best. Every option should be equal.
You introduce choice, and that your time is always being respected, because you always get something back for it. And also you emphasize that people with experience could be helping people that don't have the same experience. Because now people that know everything about the game and that already have the best game at the end of the game, maybe they need one more item, and they are now using these coins to get that one item. They're going to run dungeons like Stratholms, Goldmans, Ubers, Elbers, you name it, and they can help other people that now need these dungeons.
That way keeping the dungeons relevant throughout the entire lifespan of the game.
Yep.
So I completely agree with that. I think that's a good way of doing it. It's just because some people, they might object to these changes, but I think it's because people in their mind thinking, well, that's not going to be balanced. One thing is going to be completely overpowered, and they don't want to see a token system be better than a raid system. And I sympathize with that. I understand that, and I think that's something, again, that's a development problem. I think the developers need to be on top of stuff like that so that one system doesn't become the go-to, because players are like water. They flow where it's easiest. They will always ruin the game for themselves if they get the choice, and they will always follow the path of least resistance. So choices needs to be equally good. Every choice needs to be equally good, or as close to it as you can. Of course, you can never get it completely equal, but just close. That's basically my take.
Yeah. I also put in more interesting PvE rotations. I think this one is based off of Retail and maybe Season of Discovery, just like more interesting buttons to press.
Yeah, because I think I'm not like I don't necessarily. I'm not that interested in PvE in terms of like what you do. I don't mind having a single button to press, but this is something I picked up from a lot of people. They want, because for some people they don't even want to touch PvP, and for those they want interesting PvE, and I can completely understand that. I get my interests, or I get my button pressing stuff fix from PvP. But if you're not into PvP, then I can see why you would want more interesting rotations in PvE. So I wrote that down for that reason, because in vanilla you're just most of the time spamming one button.
Yeah.
And that's not very interesting.
I think for at least 4 classes, you literally only press one button most of the time.
Yeah.
That's not a good state to be in, if you ask me.
But it could also be overdone, right? That's what we're seeing right now in retail, where they're introducing a one button rotation.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking insane.
Because they just overdid it, right? I think
they overdid it,
balance.
so a new player just didn't know what to press, and when it became like too hard for them to keep up.
Way too overcomplicated. Something that they had in Wrath of the Lich King, close to that, I think, is actually classes played well and had something to press. That wasn't just the same button in Wrath of the Lich King.
There's a reason why Wrath was peak.
Yeah.
That was really
I definitely
good.
think in terms of abilities and how abilities functioned, both how they function in PvE, but also how they function in PvP, I really do enjoy Wrath of the Lich King changes the most.
Yeah.
When it comes to PvP.
Yeah.
And also rotation-wise. It's not overly complicated, but as a hunter, for example, you press something else than just steady shot.
Yep.
Because just pressing steady shot all throughout the entire game really gets boring. And I actually think that's, funny enough, that's something you went from vanilla, where you actually had, as a hunter, you had an interesting rotation, right? In vanilla, your rotation was aimed shot, auto shot, maybe another auto shot, then a multi-shot, auto shot, aim shot. So you actually had something, and you constantly need to play around your weapon speed, because you want to make sure you don't clip your auto shots. So that's actually an interesting rotation, having to use aim shot, auto shot, and multi-shot. That's 3 abilities. They actually dumped that down in the Burning Crusade to just 1 ability.
Yeah.
Imagine going from something that's interesting in an earlier version of the game and then progressing. You would expect the game to progress in all areas, but it didn't in this case. It regressed.
Yeah, Mr. Steady Shot was just way too good, man.
It was just way too good, or it should have been built differently. That's a complaint I have with Turtle WoW as well when it comes to Hunter. I think, again, Steady Shot is... It's kind of sad that they didn't do anything with Arcane Shot, because now Arcane Shot again is just sitting there collecting dust. As soon as you reach level 60, you're not going to be using Arcane Shot anymore. It's not really worth it.
Yeah, it's just there.
Yeah, and it still shares cooldown with aim shot. In my opinion, just remove the cooldown with aim shot. Maybe turn steady shot into a fitter shot that regenerates mana when you use it, so that you can afford your arcane shot in your rotation. So you still use aim shot, multi-shot, and then introduce arcane shot as a third shot, and only have your steady shot be useful to maybe like a spender builder thing, like they did in Cataclysm with hunters when they introduced focus. Like your steady shot would increase or regain focus for you, or in this case it could be mana, I don't care, but just so that you have something interesting going on other than just spamming steady shot. And I think that covers it from my point of view. That's what I think Season of Discovery and Retail did right.
Yeah. I put in raid tier tokens as well, even though we already talked about that.
Yeah, true.
And
True.
class balance, or at least trying, because like it's not perfectly balanced, but I would say it's way more balanced than Classic at least.
Absolutely.
Both
It
for
is-
Season of
it's-
Discovery and for Retail.
Yeah, in Season of Discovery, especially in PvE, they really made an effort. You could tell they made an effort to make every spec more or less viable in PvE, and I really liked that. It just went overboard, and it completely broke in PvP, which, in my opinion, was a little bit scuffed.
Yeah. I feel like there's so much more that I kind of want to put into the whole Season of Discovery thing, but I'm not too sure. I mean, I really want to put in the whole capped leveling phases, but should have been shorter. Much shorter.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do like your idea of having just one stagger or one cap at say 30 or something.
I think that would be so cool instead of having people just rush to level 60. And I'm saying this as one of those people that would rush to level 60.
Yeah, and for me as well. Like we are going to ruin the game for ourselves if it's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
But we don't want to.
And it's like it's going to lead to a much faster burnout as well, not just for me, but for literally everybody who does so. Because we're going to get to level 60, and then after a couple of months, we'll be like, well, where's the content?
Exactly.
We have played the game for like 16 hours a day for 2 months, and we're like, well, where's the content?
Exactly how I feel with Epoch right now. Like with the PvP gear, I'm like burned out because I don't really feel like doing anything in the game because it's all irrelevant. It's like I have the gear. What now?
And I also feel like giving us, let's just say, 1 month with a level 30 cap would be so nice for Blizzard to get some feedback on what we like and don't like while they work on the level 30 to level 60 stuff, right? 1 month might be a bit short for that, but the whole theory here is that they should have already basically the game made. But they only give us half of it, while they polish the later half. Even though the later half is also done, but they're just like polishing it. And listening to feedback on what we like and what we don't like, while just putting the last few sprinkles, basically, on level 30 to 60 content.
Yeah, Blizzard is pretty much just gonna go like, okay, so you want incursions, more incursions? Right, we got you.
Yeah, and like the only way for them to get really valuable feedback from us as players is by allowing us to play. Because we can sit here and talk all we want. Like, me, you, everybody in chat, we can sit here and talk, but at the end of the day, you need to try something to give real feedback on it. So we need to try Classic Plus before we know what we like and what we don't like, really. And I feel like just giving us level 1 to 30 content to allow us to try that while they polish the later half would be a good thing.
Yeah, but can also, if they introduce something like incursions or something like in the same vein as that can just ruin the game. That's not something I want them to try.
Yeah,
that's something I want them to avoid trying.
They need to actively stay away from.
Yeah, that. And it could be something else, but they can just as easily ruin the game in some other way.
Yeah.
So that leads me into the next point that I wanted to kind of finish off talking about, but let's not go there already. But
we can go there.
Touching on, okay, yes, basically, do we actually have confidence in Blizzard being able to make a good Classic Plus, and if they are the one that, which it seems like they are because they're working on it, so we know that for a fact now. But how should they implement new stuff? Should it be a voting system like they have in OSRS, or should they maybe let the community create their own servers, like a UGC content, where the community creates the Classic Plus server and the people decide which one they want to play on?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question.
I feel like, here's the thing, Blizzard will try to make Classic Plus 100%. They're already working on it. Can confirm basically.
Yeah,
But,
we know that.
I think
For a
UGC will be the future, and I really fucking hope that Blizzard just somehow sits down and makes that work on their servers, because that way we can just get a finish to the whole private server versus Blizzard era. Just they can under the Realm name, when you log in, you can have Season of Discovery, Classic Era, Mists of Pandaria, Hardcore servers, or a brand new category called UGC or Custom Servers. And over there you have to have a sub to play them. Blizzard collects the sub, and then those servers can, for example, have donations on them if they wanted it to, and Blizzard takes a cut of that as well. That way the people that make the servers can actually make a living from that, from donations, but Blizzard also gets a cut of that, or even just getting a paid sub. Because they need to be able to make money from it somehow.
Exactly, and just to make it clear for people who are listening or watching, what Solheim is saying with UGC content stands for user-generated content, meaning that the community, just like you have in Fortnite or other games, where the community are the map makers, they make their own maps, and whatever is most popular automatically rises to the top, and you allow a lot of people to generate different types of content, but it will weed itself out, basically, because the best will come to the top.
Yeah.
And that's like a fail-proof way of doing it, basically. Because a lot of fun servers will probably be created, but in the end, the best servers will automatically rise to the top and will become the official game mode. Because when it comes to like, can Blizzard make a good Classic Plus? I really must say I have my doubts. They say every time, oh, we learned from our previous experience, we learned from this, we learned from the incursions, we learned so much. They keep saying that. They said that since Burning Crusade. They said, oh, we learned so much, but they keep making the goddamn same mistakes over and over and over again. So to some extent, I really doubt that they're learning anything.
Yeah, I put in here, number 1, a lot of people have lost faith in Blizzard, and Blizzard Classic Plus will be full of bots, RMT and boosting. Blizzard Classic Plus will eventually have WoW tokens and paid boosts, and then UGC and custom servers are the future. Make servers require a sub, so Blizzard makes money, but let players make these custom servers, and that way Blizzard saves a lot of cash on development and rakes in sub fees.
Yeah.
I personally think that's the real way to go, but the thing is, Blizzard will make Classic Plus first, and if UGC ever happens, it's going to be at least 5 years away, possibly more as well.
Most likely, yeah, because I think you're right. They are working on their version of a Classic Plus. That's what we're going to be getting next. Hopefully, they will announce that they're doing a voting system then.
Yeah,
and we will be able as a community to vote on which changes we'd like to see. But yeah, I even doubt that to an extent. So, but we'll have to see. But yeah, user-generated content is probably going to be, at least as the company is right now, is going to be the best. It's the most, I heard somebody say it's the most monetized game, World of Warcraft, because you're not only paying for a sub each month, but you're also paying for in-game cosmetic items, and a lot of games nowadays they do either.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
don't do both. And
Blizzard has a box price, they have a sub price, they have a lot of in-game shop
as well.
WoW tokens to buy currency.
Yeah. That is pay to win. That is actively pay to win.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the worst. Like they get all of the worst stuff. And
yeah, exactly.
Still, even with this much money, even with this much greed, they still cannot enforce their own TOS. They still cannot enforce or hinder people from botting, and they still cannot enforce their rules about real money transactions. It's incredible that we are paying this much and then getting this little in return compared to private servers who literally can do all of this for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Without any pay to win in the shops, only cosmetic shops. For instance, Turtle WoW only has cosmetic. They have the bags.
The bags, yeah.
They do have some things. You can also buy mounts, but you still need the riding skill.
Yeah. No, you don't. They scale to your level, actually.
Yeah, but you still, they scale to your level, but you need the riding. Like, if you want to have the fastest, you need the epic riding skill. You need to pay that to actually have a low level or
they also give you like a vendor dude, so you can buy to have a personal vendor all the time, and a personal repair, personal mailbox. Like, it's a little on the edge.
You can also, it's on the edge. You also pay for dual spec with real money. But you also have the option to pay in-game 300 gold at the Gorobashi, and you can get the dual spec there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really up to you if you want to spend the money. But those things I can live with. What I can't live with is if they introduced a WoW token in Turtle WoW and said, okay, now you can just buy 1,000 gold for, I don't know, whatever dollar amount you want.
The thing is, right, Turtle is free to play and has bags and a possible vendor and stuff in it, right? And people are trying to crucify them for it, being like, pay to win, pay to win, pay to win. And then here's Blizzard with a box price, a $90 auction house mount in retail. They also try to sell gold actively by selling WoW tokens. They have mounts, they even have sub bundles, they have a sub price. And people are like, Daddy Blizzard, you are the best developers in the world, man. I love giving you money.
Yeah. All the while they are allowing bots and real money transactions to completely destroy the servers.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
It's an interesting time, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much where I ended my notes. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, Solheim.
Somebody in chat right now said without the gold sellers, many of the dads would not play this game. It would be a server of just unemployed people. I mean, it's definitely a take. I'll tell you that much.
It would be of unemployed people.
It's one of those times where if I say what I really mean about this, I'm probably going to disrespect some people, and I don't want to do that. But if people think that botting and the gold buying and gold selling is good for the game, I'm just going to let them have that opinion.
But where and the thing is about this, where do you draw the line then? Because you can keep going on like this. Let's say let's follow this path of thinking. Okay, next step, boosts. Okay, now you get boosts in the game. Next step, if you want to one-up that one, now you get all of your gear. That's sorted for you. You buy a character, he has all the best gear in the game. That's it. Now you want your best PvP rating. Well, you buy that. All right? Next up. What's next?
Exactly.
What's next? You pay Blizzard. You don't even have to install the game. They are going to play the game for you. Isn't that incredible?
It's like,
how awesome is that? You don't even need to install the game on your PC. You can just have that account, not even knowing what's going on with the account, but you have it and you have all the best stuff.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the greatest, boys?
Why
going on that path, it gets ridiculous.
Why would I raid when I can just buy the gear?
Yeah.
Why would I
you
level a
play-
character if I can just buy a boost?
Exactly. Why would you play the game if you can get somebody else to play the game for you?
Yeah, exactly.
It gets stupid at some point, right?
It becomes way too much about just reaching a goal instead of playing a game.
Yeah.
And it's like, people don't even care about the game anymore. They're just like, I want to get to this goal and do this thing in the game. It's a single-player game for them in MMORPG.
And everything about the game should be something you can buy. And
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense, because that's the whole enjoyment of the game. And if you don't enjoy that part of the game, well, then you're playing the wrong game, my guy.
Yeah.
You need to play something else then, because that is the game, right?
Yeah.
You're saying you want to play part of the game. Well, to some extent, I can understand that. But then again, I still say that the whole game and how it's designed is how it's supposed to be played. And if you disagree with that, you gotta look into another game. Like, if you just want to play PvP and you don't want to interact with anything in PvE, I don't necessarily think that... I think you can do that to some extent, but I don't think it should be like that. I think World of Warcraft is a game that encompasses all things about the game. And if you only want to play a PvP game, then there's Counter-Strike and there's Overwatch, there's MOBA games, Dota games, stuff like that. That's mostly oriented around PvP. Smite, even if you want something close to World of Warcraft, the same looking like the same play angle, whatever you want to call it, but in a MOBA setting.
Yeah.
But I think character investment, leveling, grinding, questing, getting gear, that's the RPG element.
Yeah, exactly.
Of an
Yeah.
MMO. Yeah, MMORPG, right?
Yeah, exactly. The whole investment is such a huge part of the game. And when it comes to people just wanting to buy themselves that investment and buy progress, sure, please do that. But Blizzard should never, ever, ever think about what you think about ever again when developing a game. Because, like, games should not be made for people that just want to buy to skip the whole game.
Exactly, yeah.
The game should be made for people that want to actually play that game. And if people just want to raid, they can...
undermining... Yeah, you're undermining your own game then. That doesn't make any sense. Then why even have it? If it's something that you want the players to skip, then why have it? And that is kind of the mentality of retail, right? They want you to get to level 60 or the max level, whatever that is, as fast as possible. And they're trying to make you skip the entire game, either with boosts or making the lower levels irrelevant and just a chore.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about with boring grinds. Eliminate that. Just make the leveling interesting instead. Or remove it. Either make the leveling interesting or remove it from the game.
A turtle made it to the water.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you have any final words here when it comes to the whole thing? Or have we gone through everything now, do you think?
I think we've pretty much gone through the whole thing. I just wanted to go back to what we started with and very clearly state that, in my opinion and my vision of the game, the three major pillars of World of Warcraft is PvE, PvP, and the economy. And whenever you decide to make a Classic Plus, you need to understand that these three pillars are intertwined, they are connected, and you need to make sure that the three things aren't separated. Everything works in conjunction with the other. Economy is such an integral part of the game. It needs to overlap with PvE stuff. It needs to overlap with gearing. It needs to overlap with everything. It can't be a separate thing. The same with PvE and PvP needs to overlap for it to feel like a whole game. This is a my opinion thing, but that's how I think the game was meant to be in vanilla. That's how it works in vanilla right now, and I think that's something that's really, really important and integral to, a Classic Plus and how it should work, in my opinion.
Yeah, PvP, PvE, and economy. Big pillars of the game. And then they need to do something about botting, man. Botting and RMT. If I had a wish list, like botting, anti-botting, anti-RMT, and having Game Masters would be on there, but I already know Game Masters is not going to be there. Actually, I take that back. They will hire some interns to be Game Masters for 1, maximum 2 months. Because they did that in Season of Discovery as well. We had Game Masters for 2 or 3 weeks. I was about to say,
they just did that, yeah. Yeah, they did that for a short time, and then they just copped out. Yeah.
No, but it's their model. They do it for the first month, sometimes 2 months, to give people the illusion of, hey, look, they're back.
Yeah.
It's just to give you hope, and once you have invested your time into the game, you are less likely to quit, because all they want you to do is invest your time, so you are less likely to quit.
They want you to buy that 6 months sub.
Yeah, that too.
So now you can't get out of it. Oh, incredibly horrible company. Sorry to say. It really is a horrible company. And I know it's not the developers' fault. It's not I think the developers, every developer, they mean great. I think many of them, they probably already thinking and knowing what we're talking about. They agree with all of this.
Many of them do. Except for one person, the guy or girl or whatever who made Nightmare Incursions.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Everybody else, though, they have the best intentions, yes.
Yeah. And they probably even had good intentions with Incursions. It was just, sorry to say, I can't think of any other nicer word to say, but it was retarded.
Yeah, it could have been done good if it was done completely different.
Yeah.
It was just the execution of Incursion was so bad.
So bad.
It was so antithetical as well to everything Classic WoW. It's just like you
undercut the entire game. Like this is the best thing to do for everything. Best gold making, best gearing, best reputation, best everything.
Was even best PvP on PvP servers, so it was best PvP as well. Literally best everything.
Jesus Christ.
It was antithetical to everything that Classic WoW is. Like they took the world out of World of Warcraft.
How do you come up with such a dumb fucking thing? It boggles me, and this is why I lose so much confidence in. Because even if you can come up with such a thing, such a stupid concept.
No, but to me it makes complete sense, because I believe firmly that there are 2 people right now on the Classic WoW team that plays Classic WoW, and the other people play retail. So this idea came from retail. And it was somebody who had, he or she had played retail and done something that looked like Incursions and was like, oh, yo, what if we have this in Classic? Just imagine running laps and getting to max level and getting gold. Dude, this is great. And it's so bad.
And the people approved it.
Yeah.
It's like, what? But yeah, you're completely right. The retail mindset is about skipping the game and getting to endgame as fast as possible, and that fits right in there.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, I think we're gonna close it off there. I think that's been a good discussion. If you want me to link your YouTube channel to people, just send it to me on Discord so I don't have to do any research. And
sure, man.
I'll post that in chat.
Awesome, that would be really awesome. I'd appreciate that.
Alternatively, if you're in YouTube chat right now, just make a comment and I'll pin your comment and then they will see who you are.
I can do that as well. I'll do both. I have the channel now.
Hell yeah.
And it's right there. And let's see if I can find you. Man, I appreciate it, and appreciate you wanting to have to talk with me, a smaller creator like myself. It's it's been awesome.
We both have some good inputs, I think, on this topic. We do share some inputs as well, but I feel like You're way more on the PvP side than I am, and that's really good for just getting the whole world PvP aspect of things, which is huge in Classic WoW. And I'm more into PvE, leveling and gold making, right?
Yeah, but I think we agree on everything, even though I think I've listened to you for years, and I pretty much think that we agree on everything when it comes to PvE as well.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, but yeah, I do favor PvP for sure as an end game thing to do as a play style, and yeah, basically like what I prefer to do at end game is absolutely PvP. But I want to do it through PvE. I want to be forced into raids because I enjoy that. I do want to see the raids. I do want to play the raids. I just want to play the entire game, basically, every aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I feel the same way.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on, Solheim, and for those 10 people who are watching my YouTube stream, subscribe to Solheim and support him on Kick as well. And I think he's growing on Kick right now, so
Hell yeah,
shout
dude.
out to Solheim.
If you ever have any interesting topics you want to talk about again, just hit me up. I'm down pretty much anytime.
Awesome, man. And actually, on off note or off topic here, I do want to at some point, if you have the time, want to talk about YouTube stuff and all that stuff. Get some good tips from you.
Oh yeah, sure thing. Just hit me up at some point. I'm down.
Awesome, man.
You can either chat on voice or just send me questions and I'll reply.
Awesome.
Right, man. Thank you for the chat,
Yeah, man.
and I'll see you around, dude.
Yeah, you too,
Yeah,
man.
good
See you.
night.
Good night.
There we go. That's been a natty over 3-hour talk, boys. Well, including the setup, it's been 3 hours. How are y'all doing? What are you guys up to? How did you enjoy that discussion? I have not been that talkative in chat, even though I have been trying to read your comments and highlight some comments while we've been talking about this, just to give some actual, well, get some input. I've got some input from you guys here. Have we talked about phasing? We talked about layering. I'm not sure if phasing and layering becomes the same thing, Iron. No, yeah, okay, yeah, in that case we have talked about no layering, yeah. That is a huge positive on Turtle WoW, if you ask me. But, Hamis Lewelton is definitely up there. What the fuck did I say again? Hey yo, boys. Alright, guys, I'm going to be doing the call out now on the YouTube stream because apparently the bitrate is not high enough to have a good YouTube stream. Or at least so it tells me. So that's interesting. But also, we have done the main stream. So for now, we are going to go over to some Kick and Twitch only stuff, alright? So you can come over and watch me on either Kick or Twitch right now. I'm live on both platforms. You can find the Twitch stuff in the link down below or the description, I guess. Or follow me on Kick. Please consider following me on Kick. I'm going to turn on some SoundCloud music here, just bang some tunes out. And we're going to have a time for a couple of hours. Also starting a new challenge, by the way, in Classic WoW, so please come by and check that out as well. But if you're just here for your YouTube stuff, I want to thank you for being here and hopefully you had fun listening to that whole thing as well. If it was second monitor content or if you actively participated in chat, thank you so much. And come by on Kick or Twitch, okay? We're gonna bang to some tunes here and level up a new character starting from level 1 on the Horde side, I think, this time, on Anniversary. Either way, peace out, YouTube.